thunderstorm system that matches the one that we're expecting. The Weather Channel's Dennis Smith explains.
The blizzard of February 1983 will long be remembered. It caused major problems for the residents of the northeastern state as an intensifying low-pressure system that took a track along the Gulf Coast and up the Atlantic seaboard and became positioned east of the Delmarva Peninsula. At the same time, a big Arctic high-pressure system to the north was funneling cold air into the storm. As a result, the entire megalopolis was clobbered with heavy snow and high winds. Many places received record amounts of snow for a 24-hour period.
I still remember it quite vividly. I was forecasting that day, and that evening, Allentown, Pennsylvania came in with a report that they had 5 inches of snow in only 1 hour, and it was at that point that we realized things were getting completely out of hand, and the storm was truly awesome.
The storm caused havoc. Schools, businesses, and roads were closed. Many people were stranded. The '83 blizzard will remain one of the biggest ever to slam into the Northeast. I'm Keith Westerledge, the Weather Channel.
Well, certainly that was a big one back in '83. Being from Baltimore, I didn't see that one, but I saw the one in '79, and we're wondering if this one is going to be quite as large as that one. It may be close, but maybe not as strong. That was certainly a big storm.
Well, everyone's asking how it can be compared with the '93 storm.
Well, that one is incomparable to. The '93 was one huge storm for the record books. Let's see what we have right now, Janine, and can you tell us about how much snow we've seen?
Well, basically, this is what we've already seen today as far as the accumulations. 3 to 6 inches in some of the mountains in the Appalachians and western portions of North Carolina. Asheville had heavy snow blowing earlier today. Winston-Salem also. And I believe right now Raleigh-Durham getting some pretty moderate snowfall, Rich.
Coming up next, we have our Eastern skiers forecast.
Dentuaries don't let anything keep you.
Saturday morning.
Oh, easy.
Blackmail, Miss McGovern, is a game of moves and counter moves, not unlike chess. The players in this particular game were two sisters. Several years ago, one of them married for money, then murdered to keep it. The other saw everything, but never said a word.
Murder case of Philadelphia police officer Laretha Baird. Those stories and much more coming up at 6.
Even faster. usually within 48 hours.
News 3 at 6.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Beverly Williams. Our top story tonight, bracing for a winter storm that has dumped snow all across the country. It's expected to blast the Philadelphia region tonight. A blanket of snow, North Carolina earlier, where the storm has already hit. Snow is falling faster than crews can keep the streets clean. The plows were also out early in Johnson City, Tennessee. The storm is expected to bring our area the heaviest snowfall so far this season. And for the details,
Well, Beverly, it's certainly going to be the heaviest snowfall of the season. It might just be the heaviest snowfall we've had around here in at least 10 years. You saw the snow from Tennessee and North Carolina. That means it is a storm system that's coming up from the south. And unlike many of the other storms we've had so far this season, it definitely will be all snow. And also, lighter amounts will occur to the north and west. Those famous northern and western suburbs will receive lighter amounts. The south and east of Philadelphia, along the Jersey Shore, a very, very bad and possibly dangerous situation along the shore, not only with the snow, blinding snow, near blizzard conditions, but they're going to get some coastal flooding. That storm is producing the snow as far as
possible from the storm. In addition, wind gusts up to about 40 miles an hour. This means we'll be experiencing blizzard conditions by this time tomorrow night. It probably won't even be safe to go out of the
On Philadelphia parking restrictions during the snow emergency, you may call 686-SNOW, S-N-O-W. And SEPTA
the flashlights out, stocked up on food. Do that tonight before the snow starts. Show you the track of the storm. This storm is going to be moving
across the Delaware Valley, but at this hour there is no doubt that a crippling snowstorm is going to affect much of the area, especially from the Philadelphia region and points south. A winter storm warning now has been issued by the National Weather Service for our entire area. That includes the shore, where a coastal flood watch is also in effect. Above normal tides are going to be coming with this storm. The latest radar shows the precipitation coming through Virginia, West Virginia, and Ohio. And south of that line, that's where snow is reaching the ground. It's snow all the way into North Carolina and Tennessee. And of course, it is moving to the northeast. By 6 a.m., less than an inch in the Philadelphia region, 1 to 3 inches in central Delaware, 4 to 6 inches down by Washington, and extreme southern Delaware. We'll have the snow amounts by 6 p.m. tomorrow, 6 a.m. on Monday. The storm totals across the area, the specific forecasts coming up for what may be called in the next couple of days the Eagles blizzard, as we sit home watching the Eagles and all the snow starts falling and blowing.
Back to you mentioned that word, blizzard. Okay, Glenn. Thank you.
Free the way folks are piling into supermarkets throughout the Philadelphia area, but it shouldn't come as much of a surprise. As surely as spring follows winter, a run on the supermarkets follows a prediction of snow. So what brought you out here today?
Snow's coming.
Afraid of being trapped right through April, I suppose.
Oh, you bet. I want them to wake me up when it's May.
We can hardly see you ladies behind all your groceries here.
We like food, and we don't want to be caught without it. And we come out on our house bus.
There may not be room for you and all your groceries.
Oh, we have plenty of room.
So busy in here, they've turned you into a bag boy again.
I'll tell you what, in the grocery business, we love them when they call for snow because it just gets crazy in here. We have a little saying in the grocery business, when it's going to storm, they're going to swarm. And I'll tell you what, with the 12 to 24 inches, it's been like this since 8 o'clock this morning.
Why isn't that important in the United States? I mean, we're not American, and...
Where are you from?
We came from Turkey.
Does it snow in Turkey?
Yes, but not that much, and it's not that a big deal, so...
You're not afraid of being trapped until the spring?
Oh.
Hope not.
Hope not, yeah.
Well, we hope not, too, but as he says, they're predicting it will be storming, and the folks, well, now they've all disappeared, but they were all here a while ago. The folks are surely swarming as they get ready for what they're calling already the blizzard of '96. Live in Bala Cynwyd, I'm Mike Strug, News 10.
Okay, thank you very much, Mike. And, of course, Bala Cynwyd is not spelled with two O's in it. Well, PennDOT plow.
Continuous reports from KYW News Radio, 1060 AM. In other news, a second suspect has been arraigned in the shooting death of Philadelphia police officer Laretha Baird. 26-year-old Chris Roney turned himself into...
And keep it right here on News 10 for continuing coverage of this winter storm. We will be tracking the storm's progress through the night and have a full report at 11 o'clock and then starting again at 6:30 tomorrow morning and throughout the day for special coverage, and that's right here on NBC 10. Now, also tomorrow we will air a special weather report on News 10 at halftime of the Eagles football game. We hope that you'll turn your sets to NBC 10 tomorrow at halftime for the very latest on this winter storm. Tim?
Well, Highway Expressway to southbound 202 in Montgomery County. A tractor-trailer truck flipped over on the curb and into the other lane. Traffic was backed up for miles on the expressway today. The roadway was closed from 7 this morning, and it reopened at about 4 this afternoon. Philadelphia police are on a manhunt tonight for the third suspect wanted in connection with the murder of police officer Laretha Baird. She was gunned down last Tuesday during a failed bank robbery. Now,
frozen stuff. Let's have a snowstorm once in a while, okay? How about the one we had back in 1983? Remember this, gang? Let's take a look. Well, this scene probably will be repeated tomorrow. You know, that's it. Get those big trucks. They're on the road already, I'm sure. You know, it's not really, this was back in February of '83. It's not really how much snow we're going to get tomorrow because the snow is going to drift. The winds are going to be so strong that just as soon as you plow the driveway or the walkway or the highway, that snow's going to get blown right back on there again. So if you get 6 inches, 8 inches, 10 inches, the drifts are going to be high. That's the main thing. Drifting snow and blinding snow at times tomorrow. Let's deal with the present. For the moment, it's 17 degrees. Our wind chill, which had been running below 0 all day today, is now 5 above. Winds out of the northwest at 10. And
now, winter storm warnings have been issued by the National Weather Service for the entire area, Poconos down to Dover, all the way down into North Carolina, by the way. Coastal flood watch in effect for the Jersey Shore. We'll watch that during the times of high tide as the storm gets closer. In the meantime, it's a dry evening. You can go about your activities with no problem. No problem perhaps till at least 3 in the morning. 18 in Philly now, 16 in the Poconos. Wind chill readings now in the single digits for the most part. They were below 0 this morning. Here's the timeline.
As far as West Virginia right now, but right in the middle of West Virginia is where the snow has begun because north of this line, it's still above. It hasn't reached the ground because the air is so dry. Down here, you see this little echo here, this yellow echo? That's probably where the freeze line is. Above that, it's snow. Below that, it is snow above that line, and below that it's rain. Right there is freezing rain. So that's where the snow reaches all the way down into central South North Carolina. Here's our forecast for tonight. We're looking for 10 to 15 for the overnight low. Lots of clouds. You'll see some snow starting to move in from the south. It gets heavier as the night goes on toward morning. Heavier snow from the south. Then the wind starts picking up toward morning. And the winds are really going to be a factor tomorrow. And temperatures aren't going to get too much higher than they are right now, maybe into the mid-20s. Overnight lows tonight, 5 to 20. Sure. Not only are they going to have snow, but they're going to have near blizzard conditions. Gale warning
to happen 2 days later. And these are my predictions for the snow amounts. 15 to 25 inches across Washington into central and southern Delaware and extreme southern Jersey. 10 to 20 across the Philadelphia area, 6 to 12 to the north. And getting more specific, by 6 o'clock in the morning, there's really not much in Philadelphia, but it's starting to pile up a little bit in Delaware, 1 to 3 inches, 4 to 6 down to the south. By 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, 4 to 7 inches from Philly north, 8 to 12 inches south of Philadelphia. That's almost a foot. Washington will have a foot by then. And the storm totals, more specifically, 15 to 25 inches, parts of Delaware, parts of South Jersey, 10 to 20 in Philly, you know, could go up or down a little bit, but this is a crippling snowstorm and near blizzard regardless, 6 to 12 inches up north. How about that? Winter storm warnings once again for the whole area. Here's the forecast for tonight. No problem early tonight, that's for sure. Bitter cold, clouds thickening though. 13 in the city, 8 north and west, and temperatures may actually rise later tonight. Some light snow by daybreak. Snow increasing during the day, heavy by afternoon, blowing and drifting. You saw the snow accumulations, high of only 23 degrees. This is the type of snow that really blows around. It's going to be the fluffy stuff, not like what we've seen, and no ice. Now, on Monday, it ends in the morning with blowing and drifting and winds. Tuesday, we get better and may have 40 by Thursday. So it's going to be a long storm. We'll have updates throughout the day tomorrow.
All right. Thank you. We'll be right back with more in just a moment. Don't go away. This is going to be ugly.
The following preview.
Leslie?
And get prepared because in the early morning hours, the snow will start falling. It's not going to be ending for quite some time. This is indeed a huge snowstorm. In fact, it will be a blizzard. Let's show you action radar right now, and you can see the snow is just knocking on our doors, approaching the Washington, D.C. area. This is a big complex of storms, and if we also show you just what in fact is snow, most of it is snow. As you move down to the south, you move into a mixture of snow, sleet, and rain. Parts of the Carolinas have already received 4 inches of snow, and what we've got is some very cool air in place. If you've been outside, you certainly know that. Record lows set Erie, Pennsylvania, 9 degrees below zero this morning. In Burlington, Vermont, 23 degrees below zero. Now, this is not including the wind chill. And the cold air extends all the way down into Dallas, 29 for the high. Now, because this cold air is in place, the storm system's pulling up moisture out of the Gulf. Right now, it's still down across the Gulf Coast, but what it's going to do is continue tracking right up towards the northeast, pulling up all this moisture, encountering the cool air, and that means we're not talking inches of snow anymore. In fact, we are talking possibility of feet, 1 to 2 feet across the Delaware Valley at the coast. Probably a little less in the extreme southern New Jersey coast, but there is a coastal flood watch in effect. Also, already a winter storm warning in effect for across the Delaware Valley. So AccuWeather says, get prepared because this is indeed the blizzard of 96. Someone once said it was going to be a mild winter. I don't know about that. The afternoon high today only 20, overnight low 10, and it's chilly outside. Reading right now 16, Allentown 14, Wilmington 18, 20 degrees in Atlantic City. The action cam was out looking at Center City, and we had a few clouds overhead today. 18 degrees right now, humidity 45%, barometer 30.47. Right now it's rising. It'll be dropping dramatically tomorrow. Winds are out of the northwest at 7 miles an hour, so that makes the wind chill 8 degrees. In Center City right now, 21. In the northeast, 16. Camden, 17. And City Line, 18. The airport, 18 degrees as well. The exclusive AccuWeather 5-day forecast. Winter storm warning already in effect tonight. Probably some snow developing in the early morning hours. 14 for the low tomorrow. The snowstorm will be here. Very heavy snow, very high winds. The afternoon high 22. Monday, winds still gusting up to about 40 miles an hour. The snow will continue stopping sometime Monday night. Then on Tuesday, cold and windy, 30 for the high. Wednesday, warming up a little bit. Thursday, increasing clouds, but be prepared because it's going to be a big one.
Ready as we'll ever be.
Okay.
Ran out of snowflakes on that board. Finally, a Mummers Serenade in South Philadelphia. Fancy brigades and several string bands performed outside the Vikings clubhouse at Swanson and Rittner. The Vikings won the Fancy Brigade division.
And then again throughout the night, tomorrow night. Tomorrow, late afternoon night, that's when it's going to be at its worst.
Okay, well, let's understand he may be having some flight
Travel
problems.
too.
So, nonetheless, I'm sure he's excited to get back here and start forecasting. Thanks, Glenn.
That is it for now. I'm Siani Lee.
And I'm Tim Lake. For Glenn and Al and the entire News 10 team, we'll see you back here tonight at 11 o'clock. NBC Nightly News is coming up next.
Good night, everybody.
This Sunday only, Collector's Art returns to sell out over 2,000 beautiful oil paintings at $49 or less. $49. Incredible. In addition, choose from our huge variety of gallery oils. Weather is only...
Ready or not, hear it call. Dave Frankel's here for Cecily tonight.
And Rob, it is going to be the blizzard of 96. Closing in on the Delaware Valley already, and let's walk you through what we're in for over the next day and a half or 2 days. First of all, here's what we can expect generally in and around the city: 1 to 2 feet of snow. Just slightly less if you're right along the water in New Jersey or Delaware. And as you go up toward the Lehigh Valley and in the Poconos, actually a little less because the storm won't get that far north, 6 to 12 there and 3 to 6 further north. Action radar shows us the system moving in, starting to overspread the area just to the south. Watch over the past 6 hours. This is since about dinner time, lifting up from the south and west, and it's a huge area of water. There is plenty of water to feed into this thing, and because the cold air is in place, most of it will be in the form of snow. And as we break it down for you, you'll see it is snow on the front end of this thing, and in fact, just snow for us. The icy mix and the rain will stay well to the south. We are not going to see that. Storm stats from AccuWeather. Looks like it starts in the overnight hours between 4 and 6 o'clock tomorrow morning officially. It will peak sometime tomorrow night, so it's building all day tomorrow. At times, as it approaches the peak, AccuWeather says we'll be seeing snow at a rate of 3 to 4 inches per hour and winds of 40 to 45 miles an hour. You put the snow and the winds and the cold temperatures and the low visibility all together, and it is the blizzard of 96. Let's check the call from AccuWeather. Well, it was 1821. It was on this date in that year that we got 1.5 feet of snow right here in Philadelphia. Sound familiar? 10 degrees was the low this morning, 20 degrees the high this afternoon. Temperatures in the cold teens for the most part. We'll check those 11 o'clock numbers for you. 19 degrees right now. Relative humidity 43%. Barometer's been up all day at 30, 40 inches right now, but starting to fall. Northeast wind at 9, wind chill 5 degrees. Northeast Philadelphia at 17 here on City Line Avenue, 20 in Center City, 19 at the airport, 18 degrees in Camden. The exclusive AccuWeather 5-day forecast. Snow moves in the overnight hours, 14 degrees the overnight low. It's a snowstorm tomorrow with 1 to 2 feet of accumulation, 22 degrees the high temperature. It continues into tomorrow night and in fact into a good part of the day on Monday with strong winds, blowing and drifting snow as well, 22 degrees. Winds down and ends Tuesday. We see a dry day, but still windy and lots of blowing snow still around, 30 degrees the high, 35 partly sunny skies on Wednesday. And on Thursday, some clouds, 38 degrees, and you don't want to know the rest of the story on Thursday.
We don't.
You don't.
That is our coverage of the winter storm for tonight. Be sure to stay with Action News tomorrow for continuing coverage as the snow falls and the
storm makes for dangerous driving, but PennDOT says that it is ready to handle any highway headaches.
And digging out will be the next order of business, probably tomorrow.
And get this, in Dallas, the Eagles get ready to try for 2 playoff wins in a row, taking on the Cowboys today. But more cold weather is on the way this week. Blizzard right now, and
Yeah, we're in. We're stuck in, and Glenn Hurricane Schwartz is stuck with us, telling us about the exclusive Earth Watch forecast. How about it?
Well, this is just the beginning of it. The snow is going to get harder. Whatever you see out your window now, it's going to get harder, unless you're around Dover, Delaware, where it's about as hard as it gets when it's snowing at the rate of just about 2 inches an hour. And before this is over, Philadelphia is going to be seeing snow rates of 2 inches per hour as well, and that could happen later on during the morning hours. Right now, it's 13 degrees. Wind chill is 14 below. The humidity, 92%. Barometer, 30.24. Falling. Winds out of the northeast at 15. Obviously, it's snowing. We have just about 2 inches of snow here on City Line. This is the area you can see in the red. That's the blizzard warning in effect, issued by the National Weather Service, which does not issue such things lightly. Blizzard warning and a coastal flood warning for the shore. Winter storm warning for the Poconos. Now, these are the current temperatures in the teens in most areas, some single digits to the north. This is one for the books, especially in some southern areas that haven't been hit with such a blizzard in a long, long time. In Washington, they're comparing it back to 1922 and calling this a storm of historic proportions. That's the official word from the National Weather Service in Washington, D.C. Wind chills 10 to 16 below zero right now, and even though the temperature may rise a little bit during the day, the wind chill will actually stay low because the winds will be increasing. Now, let's show you the latest radar. This is obviously snow all over the place. Look at some of this heavy stuff down here, extreme southern Delaware and the eastern shore of Maryland. Salisbury, Maryland, still reporting heavy snow. Now, snow is not picked up by radar real well. This snow is just incredibly heavy, but also there is some ice mixed in down there and also down into the Carolinas. Let me show you this area. It's all snow north of Richmond, but in Richmond, Virginia right now, they are reporting heavy freezing rain, a temperature in the 20s. It is all rain now in Norfolk. Now, if we can get some of the warm air up, that will change the snow over to ice in Atlantic City and parts of the Delaware shore, but it's a close call now. We'll have to monitor this throughout the morning. The computers have not been predicting that. There's the area of heavy snow right now, moving right across Philadelphia, obviously, and still right on top of us at 6 o'clock tonight. The only possible change would be some of that ice coming back toward the shore. By 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, the storm is moving offshore. Heavy snow is ending during the morning hours, but light snow all the way down into Georgia. 1 to 3 inches across the area by 9 o'clock. We're just in that ballpark now. 4 to 8 inches across central and southern Delaware and the shore. By 9 o'clock tonight, 12 to 18 inches south of the city, 6 to 12 from the city north, 3 to 6 up in the Poconos. And the storm total, well, we'll have to watch and see if the totals get dropped a little bit along the shore. Right now we're in the 15 to 25 range, so it could be that before it changes over and then change back to snow at the end. But 20 to 30 inches from Washington, Baltimore, much of Delaware, into parts of South Jersey, parts of the Philadelphia area, 15 to 25 north and west, which is plenty. And the overall picture, once again, showing 20 to 30 inches from parts of southwestern Virginia all the way into the southern sections of the greater Philadelphia region. I'm calling it the Eagles blizzard because that's how I'll remember it. Here's the forecast then for today. Snow and winds increasing, a blizzard condition by this afternoon and this evening, high of 23. The temperatures will rise. That will change the character of the snow. It's real fluffy now. It won't be so fluffy when it's getting heavier later today and tonight. Now for tonight, blizzard, heavy snow. Again, temperatures may actually rise a little bit during the night for a while, blowing and drifting though. And for tomorrow, the snow ending during the morning hours, but blowing and drifting will continue all day, so it's still going to make the roads impassable. 28 degrees for the high temperature. 5-day forecast will have temperatures rising once we get into Tuesday, and a warming trend as we head toward the end of the week. Obviously not enough to melt all the snow that's falling or fallen and the ice that's been on the ground, but at least improving weather here. And we could use a break from these winter storms because this one is the biggie, and this will probably end up being the biggest storm of the winter season,
you know,
obviously.
Hurricane, I know everybody at home is trying to think, okay, we're going to be shut in today, shut in tomorrow.
Yes.
And then Tuesday, will we be able to start digging out, or maybe you're thinking...
That depends on the details of this storm, but sometimes when you get 2 feet of snow, that takes a long time to clear out, and there's just no doubt in my mind that the city is going to be shut down. The nation's government is going to be shut down on Monday at least.
Well, yeah, it's a very dangerous storm too. High winds, cold temperatures, and all that.
Well, the fortunate thing is that it's on a Sunday, so people aren't like at work and then they have to try to get home. I was in Atlanta forecasting in 1982 when this terrible ice storm came in the middle of the day, and there are thousands of cars stranded all over the city. And so we're not going to have that problem today as long as people exercise the caution. You can sit at home and enjoy the beautiful pictures outside.
All right, Hurricane. Well, boy, I'm glad I went to the store yesterday.
We all.
I don't know if I'll get home, but I'm glad there's food there for the...
Right now, looking around me, it looks like we have about 2 inches here on City Line, and the roads right now are pretty much snow covered. A lot of cars hitting the roads this morning. A little surprising for Sunday morning how many people are out and about, and we've seen some people spinning their wheels here on City Line, so there are some problems. It's only going to get worse because where the snow is coming from, there's a lot more. Let's show you an action radar. The snow started early this morning. As you can see, it's continuing to slowly work up the East Coast, much heavier as you move down to the south. And if you show what in fact is snow, the snow is falling across all of Pennsylvania, all of New Jersey, all of Delaware. You really have to go way down to the Carolinas to mix with any rain, and we really don't think we'll be mixing with rain. This storm is very much like the storm of February 1983 when Philadelphia received more than 21 inches of snow. A lot of very cool air in place, so once this moisture meets the cool air, it moves to snow, and it'll will be staying as snow. And then as that system moves closer to us tonight, the winds will really be kicking up. Right now we have winds at about 15 miles an hour. That's cold enough, but winds could be gusting upwards of about 45 miles an hour in the Philadelphia area, at the coast up to about 55 miles an hour. So that's why the National Weather Service has already posted a blizzard warning for tonight and tomorrow. Right now there's a winter storm warning in effect. Now this means in addition to the heavy snow accumulations, we'll also have very high winds, and that means blowing and drifting snow. Visibility is probably reduced to less than a quarter mile. If you live at the coast, be aware that there's a coastal flood warning in effect for tonight. Tonight's high tide could be very interesting. There's a good chance of some tidal flooding on the back bays and at the ocean front, and winds up to about 55 miles an hour. So this is certainly a very strong storm, something we haven't seen since February of 1983. And no longer are we talking about inches of snow, we're now talking about feet. Now, in the worst case scenario, the Philadelphia area could get 2 feet of snow. That extends down into Delaware and New Jersey as well. As you move up towards the north, that's where the snow will be tapering off a little bit over the Lehigh Valley, about 6 to 12 inches. Extreme northern Pennsylvania, New York State, about 3 to 6 inches of snow. This is a coastal storm. It's going to be tracking across the Delmarva Peninsula, and that's why as you move down to the south, that's why most of the snow will be falling there, up to 2 feet of snow. We've been tracking the storm since early yesterday. It was down across Florida at 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. This morning, it's beginning to enter the Carolinas. Now, by 7 o'clock tonight, it's going to be entering Virginia, and then, as you can see, moving right across the Delmarva Peninsula by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. So that's why those 12 hours, 7 o'clock tonight, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, is when we expect the storm will intensify for the most part here in the Delaware Valley. That's when the winds will really be kicking up and the snow will get very heavy. By 7 o'clock tomorrow night, it should be off the New England coast, off into the Atlantic. That's when we expect the snow will be tapering off, and we'll probably all start to have to dig out. One man here is all bundled up working his snowblower, and he looks pretty cold. The storm timetable, my mouth is freezing over, means today we'll get heavy snow throughout the day, getting heavier tonight, and with the winds kicking up to about 45 miles an hour, we expect blizzard conditions tonight. Those conditions will remain till tomorrow morning, and then by tomorrow afternoon, finally the snow will end. The skies will begin to clear out a little bit. The cold air will continue, and that's when we'll all have to dig out from the possibility of under 2 feet of snow. So if you're not already prepared for this event, get prepared, because tonight will not be a night you want to venture outside your home. Even this morning, a good idea just to stay bundled up and stay inside. I'm Cecily Tynan reporting live from City Line. Back to you.
Cecily, another note, when those winds pick up later tonight, I suppose those temperatures are really going to drop as well.
Yes, exactly. Wind chills tonight, our overnight low will probably be around 15 degrees, but with the wind chill, it could feel as low as 20 degrees below zero. So that's dangerously cold. This is a time also, if you have any elderly relatives living alone, check up on them. Make sure that they're prepared for this weather. Make sure their heat's on. With the high winds, we do have the possibility of some power outages, so get the flashlights and the candles out. Make sure you have canned foods and all the staples, because we could be talking about some people being snowbound without any power later on tonight. That's the worst case scenario. Back to you.
All right, Cecily, thank you very much.
And that is very
across some sections of the eastern Great Lakes, western Great Lakes. Only some flurry activity there, but still very cold temperatures. So it's definitely a storm that's going to affect the Atlantic coast and the Atlantic seaboard area. All right, here's how we're going to be looking. That low pressure center right now over the eastern sections of Tennessee. By later tonight, about 7 o'clock tonight, it's expected to be just off the coast of Norfolk, Virginia, and a very, very slow track to the north. By tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., about 75 miles east of Atlantic City. And during this whole time, as Harold Van Ness explained, throwing back moisture. The counterclockwise winds throwing a lot of moisture off the ocean. Again, cold temperatures already in place. We're not going to get out of the mid-20s today. So expect all snow for just about everyone. And as I mentioned, places like the Poconos only expected to maybe get about a half foot of snow, but most of us about 1 to 2 feet expected. Here's some of the latest temperatures across the Northeast. New York City right now at 16, Philadelphia 13. Nation's capital, they have about 8 inches of snow on the ground. They have a current temperature of 19 degrees. Charleston, West Virginia, 25. Cleveland, some flurries right now and a current temperature of 18. All right, if you want to escape it, as I told you, head west, young man and young lady. This is where some of the milder air is being found. Los Angeles, 59. Seattle, Washington, 53 and some showers there. Phoenix, 50 degrees. Across the midsection of the nation, still very cold. Dallas, 22. Big game later to this morning expected to occur down there in Dallas, Texas. Game time temperature right around 27 degrees. So the Eagles should feel right at home with these kinds of conditions. All right, for us today, not a bad forecast in terms of my standpoint, a very easy one. Lots of clouds, lots of snow, a major storm, 1 to 2 feet kind of blanketing most of our area, and that means blizzard conditions as winds really start to pick up. Later, right now might not be too bad getting around, but later today, very, very slippery road conditions expected as that snow starts to pile up. Highs 23 Atlantic City, 21 Trenton, 24 Newcastle, 18 degrees up in the Reading area. For the rest of the 5-day planner, this thing should start to really wind down mid-morning tomorrow, but snow showers throughout the day. 24 expected to be our afternoon high, and again, by the time it's all said and done, 1 to 2 feet. Windy and colder on Tuesday, kind of a dig-out day, I suppose. Wednesday, partly sunny, 30 degrees your high. 32 on Thursday with increasing clouds, and looks like another storm could bring some light snow right now to our area on Friday with a temperature of 32. Bring the pets indoors, and be sure to check in on some of the elderly out there. That's your forecast for now. Amy, Lou?
Thank you, David. Coming up at 8 o'clock now.
Well, this is the beginning of a superstorm. That's what you can see here. Well, the reason why I'm doing this is because I like snow. I like a lot of it. And they're calling for maybe possibly a little over 2 feet, maybe 30 inches of snow. 1 to 2 feet of snow. It's coming down right into the camera. The reason why I'm doing this is because so many times people talk about big snowstorms and how it was deep up to their ass and hold on. I just wanted to videotape this because I remember in 1983 I was waiting for a storm like this. Since then, this storm we get 21.3 inches of snow. I remember not going to school and loving every minute of it. Well, I'm not going to work though. I love every minute of that. So, throughout the day I will chronicle the storm. I'll walk the dog now. I'll be right back. Alright, walking out to the front now. Sorry if this picture's a little bumpy. So, see the snow falling. Not real deep yet. Couple inches. I hear shovels going. Snow is absolutely, I wouldn't say pouring yet. It's coming down pretty good. I came home around, I was out with Joe and Paul last night. I came home around, I guess it was 2:30. And one flake fell. Joe's. But, by the time I got home, there's already coating on the ground. By the time I went to bed around 3, it's a good bit of snow falling. There's next door still. Gary showering. Cason's house. And blowing a lot. You can see it blowing off. They're predicting blizzard conditions for later. Alright. Walking the street. See, there's some snow. I guess that's hard on the camera. My hand, which is ungloved, is absolutely freezing. But I heard a car behind me. See snow falling. See houses in the neighborhood. You know what? I'm gonna take a run down to the pond. See what it looks like down there. There's the trees. Alright. I'm recording now. That's the pond down there. That big long stretch is the pond. That's getting snowed on. I think this is a pretty nice shot to the trees. I'm no pro at this, but there's the snow coming down. You can see right next to that tree. This is really neat, this storm. Look at the power that this thing has. That's incredible. Possible 20 to 30 inches. I definitely will be, I mean, this is what it looks like on a regular snowstorm. This is only about 2 inches right now on the ground. But later on today, when we do hit that 30-inch mark, or 20-some inch mark, whichever, we'll see what the difference is, how much different it looks on a severe, severe snowstorm and blizzard conditions. Right now we're getting some wind with this. It's about 8:45 Sunday, the 6th of January, or 7th of January, 95. And we're getting some snow. We're expecting blizzard today, all day. Eagles in Dallas today. People think I'm out of my freaking mind. Okay. Well, not a whole lot more to film right now. So, I'm going to go in, and I'll be back with more on this snowstorm throughout the day.
Drifting snow later today. Blizzard warnings are in effect for the entire greater Philadelphia region. We also have storm and flood warnings for coastal New Jersey and Delaware. Very interesting scenario. Our Carol Erickson is down there. We'll have a report from her a little bit later on. Now, to our south, some areas have already gotten some of the heaviest amounts of snow, and as we take a look at our latest graphic showing some of those numbers, places like Roanoke, Virginia, 15 inches of snow. Baltimore, just down I-95, already 7 inches on the ground. D.C., 9 inches. Pittsburgh has 9. Norfolk, Virginia, currently
during the day. High of 23 by this evening, but it won't feel like it in an all-out blizzard tonight with winds continue to increase. Winds are already gusting almost to 40 miles an hour at the shore. We'll continue to update this throughout the hour.
All right, Hurricane, thanks a lot.
Throughout most of northern and central Texas, didn't really accumulate to too much, but definitely will probably make the Eagles feel more at home when they play the Cowboys today down there in Texas Stadium. As you take a look at the forecast for their kickoff, partly cloudy sky and a cold 27 degrees today, and temperatures aren't really expected to get out of the freezing point, so hopefully that will have some type of benefit for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we'll take a more detailed look at the storm and also talk to the Franklin Institute's chief meteorologist, Harold Van Ness, about the possibility of a secondary low developing and what that could mean for the greater Philadelphia region. All that coming up a little bit later on. Lou, Amy?
We were talking during the break, you know, it was actually on October 20th of this past autumn, I was actually sitting on the beach in Ocean City, enjoying the rays.
Right.
And we had a wonderful autumn for a while.
Yeah.
Look at what's happening down there right now.
And fall became winter before it officially became winter, and it's it hit with a wallop. We've been hopscotching throughout the greater Philadelphia region with our reporters, getting a first-hand look at conditions.
It was fun. Unfortunately, it's not going away from what I understand. Dan, we've moved locations from one side of the boardwalk to the other. That may sound easy to you, but believe me, much more easier said than done, not an easy task. And we're now right here next to these geotubes that I talked about a little bit earlier. Let me show them to you live, and then we'll show you some pictures in just a moment. But these geotubes, you can see the sand covers this big pile as you look out in the ocean in the background. And now let's roll some of the videotape that we shot earlier. What it shows is the geotubes. They're large, large tubes. I think, if I remember correctly, 12 feet wide by about 6 feet high, completely loaded with sand. Now, on the other side, you can see the black tube, and that's where the ocean front is hit up against the tube, taken the sand that was there, and has brought it back out to the ocean. So beach erosion underway. Now, these tubes here are used as barriers to protect property and to protect the boardwalk and the people that are here, and hopefully it'll stop the massive rush of ocean water as it gets closer and closer to the shore. The tubes work a little bit differently than the folks down in Avalon. They have geotubes there as well, but those tubes are used to kind of break up the strength of the waves as they get closer and closer into the ocean. Bob Levy just walked by. Bob is Director of Emergency Management. Bob, I hate to put you on the spot, but your timing is excellent. State of emergency yet in Atlantic City?
Yes, it is a state of emergency here in the city of Atlantic City. We're going to cease all traffic in the city at 2 p.m. We don't want anyone on the streets. Everyone stay off unless it's absolutely necessary so that our emergency vehicles can move around. I also have a request. I'd like to pass on to all of our residents from the fire chief, Ben Brenner, and his staff. We'd like you to adopt, if possible, a fire hydrant. And if you have a fire hydrant anywhere near your home, if you could just kind of keep that clear if possible. And that way, if the firefighters have to come into your neighborhood, your area, they'll be able to find the fire hydrants. This does become a problem in this type of an intense storm.
Excuse me, Bob, does that mean you'd like folks to shovel around it or salt around it?
Just shovel around the fire plugs if possible. If you have health problems and all, of course, we understand that you can't. But any assistance that you can assist the fire department, it's greatly appreciated by our firefighters here in the city of Atlantic City.
How are the roads holding up here at the shore?
The roads holding up right now are fine. I mean, they're snow covered, but they're passable. We're plowing. However, as this storm intensifies, as you know, later this afternoon and this evening, we will be in blizzard conditions, and so we're making all the proper precautionary measures now. We're taking them at this point.
Last question, I'll let you go. I know you're a busy man, Bob, especially today. Tidal, coastal flooding, a possibility. Tell me what you expect, not only tonight, but tomorrow morning as we get closer and closer.
Right, well, tonight we're not expecting anything real serious. However, there will be some moderate tidal flooding. Tomorrow morning, there is the possibility of severe flooding, and that is going to be a problem, depending on the track of this storm.
All right, Bob, thanks very much.
In addition, I'd really like everyone, please, move your vehicles now. Now. Don't wait till this afternoon when you're snowed in and you cannot move, okay? Move now. Take the precautions. The tide is coming up.
Thank you very much, Bob Levy, Director of Emergency Management here at the Jersey Shore in Atlantic City. You heard it here first. Back to you, Flora and Dan, in the studio.
All right, Joe, obviously a lot to be concerned about.
Plowed down Germantown Pike now for the past hour or so, and the snow is beginning to pile up. Right down there at the intersection, you can see a turnpike plow. That's the kind of equipment they're using to keep the turnpike as open as they can, because plow trains are moving along the turnpike. They are trying to keep up with this storm. They are trying to keep ahead of this storm. But at this point, the snow continues to come down very heavily, and as I talk, the longer we go, it even gets heavier. This is a blizzard. Make no mistake about it. If you don't have to be out, please stay home, put your feet up against a fire, and watch us freezing to death out here. That's the story live from Plymouth meeting. We'll go back to you.
We start to rate the headgear again. I think Robin has forged you the lead, though, and best looking hat so far this morning.
Yeah, definitely that Indiana Jones.
My Indiana Jones look.
Yeah,
very nice.
We like
Very
it.
nice.
2 thumbs up.
That snowplow, by the way, was the Jurassic era snowplow.
A
that we
double
saw
wide.
coming. Whoa, baby,
that
that's a
one.
plow.
It works.
Yeah, indeed. Well, it really does.
Flight operations have been suspended, and we're just going to proceed with the rest of the day.
Now, Mark, will you get to a point when you'll just close the airport?
We don't know at this point. Right now, our airfield is operational. We have to consider safety factors if our crews get into a whiteout condition where they can't see around them. But our main purpose and our main focus is to maintain a safe and efficient airport. That means keeping our airfield area open for whatever. In previous storms, as other airports have been closed, we've accepted diversions from other airports. So we need to have Philadelphia International open in the event that airlines are operating or the event of an emergency or something of that nature. But we're just going to go through the day and see how it operates, and we will do everything we can to keep Philadelphia open.
Mark, describe the scenario within the terminals right now. Do you have a lot of passengers running around trying to find out what's going on?
Well, there are lines at the ticket counters as flights are canceled. Passengers are standing in line waiting to reschedule their flights or make alternate arrangements. The hotels are starting to fill up, and we fully expect that through the morning into the afternoon, the terminals will start to get heavy. We're going to activate our distress passenger program as of 12 o'clock, and we will try to make those who remain with us overnight as comfortable as possible, and we just ask for everyone's patience and perseverance.
Okay, Mark Pesch from the Philadelphia.
And keep in mind, it's still to our south. You know, we like to break storms down in kind of 3 categories. You know, a nuisance event, 1 to 5 inches across. I mean, you can get to work, but it just causes a lot of headaches out there. 5 to 10 inches in this part of the nation is commonly known as kind of a shoveling event. You got to get out there and shovel the walkways and everything else. Anything over 10 inches, you're dealing with a crippling event, and we're expected to see 1 to 2 feet of snow in our area, and that could stop a lot of things, businesses, city services. So we are in the highest category right now. Blizzard warnings remain in effect for most of our area. Blizzard conditions, drifting and blowing snow. Winds are expected to clock up to about 35 miles per hour inland around the city. Coastal areas of Jersey and Delaware could have wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. And as I mentioned, heavy snow for the entire region. 1 to 2 feet of snow expected by tomorrow morning, with the exception of the Poconos of all places. They'll probably only get about a half foot of snow. Very gusty wind, anywhere between 30 and 50 miles per hour. And of course, coastal flooding late tonight and early tomorrow morning for Jersey and Delaware to boot, on top of some of these other situations. So a very major storm bearing down on our region, up and down the Atlantic seaboard, actually. Snow continues to fall out there. Outside our studios right now, about 4 inches of snow on the ground, 13 degrees your current temperature. That's only half the story, folks, talking about the snow. The way it really feels out there right now, 22 degrees below zero. Relative humidity right now at 88%. Winds picking up, gusting to 28 miles per hour, and we've got a falling barometer, and that's expected to continue to fall. Take a look at the picture here, and as you see, this is the story. A large glob of green, and this is where a lot of the moisture continues to fall. The freeze line right now, just off to the south, across southeastern Virginia. Anything to the north of this line is falling as snow. Anything to the south of it right now is falling as rain, but that cold air continues to dive to the south, and that's expected to be the trend up and down the Atlantic coast today. A very stormy one, and as people have been mentioning, fortunately, it is happening on a Sunday. All right, here's a look at our satellite picture. Don't count on seeing any sunshine at least until about Tuesday, as this low-pressure center continues to move across the western sections of North Carolina. It's a very slow-moving situation, and that's the reason we're really concerned about some of the snowfall amounts. By 7 o'clock tonight, it's expected to be just to the east of Norfolk, Virginia, and as it slowly and ever so gingerly starts to move in a northeasterly direction, by about 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, it'll be just about 75 miles east of Atlantic City. In the process, pulling back a lot of moisture off the Atlantic Ocean. Very, very cold air settling in behind that system. So with that in mind, let's check in with that 5-day planner. By this time tomorrow morning, we expect to see anywhere between 1 and 2 feet of snow on the ground. Snow showers throughout the day tomorrow, so it will start to slack off. 24 degrees your high. Try to get those walkways cleared, because once this stuff really settles and freezes, it's going to be there for a while. As you can see, only 29 degrees on Tuesday. Wednesday, fair amount of sunshine, up to 30. Thursday, we'll see increasing clouds, and we will make it to the freezing point. And then by Friday, it looks like another system could bring some snow to our area, with the temperature getting up to about 32 degrees. Bring the pets indoors, check on the elderly, and we'll have another update coming at you in a few minutes. Lou, Amy?
Funny you should say that, David.
Level yet. Temperature 20 or lower, we are there. Heavy and blowing snow, well, we're getting into that ballpark, especially in Delaware and South Jersey. Visibility a quarter mile or less. And that is happening in Millville, New Jersey, Wilmington, Delaware, Dover, Delaware right now. So some places to our south are just on the verge of that technical definition of blizzard, and the Weather Service, and we expect those conditions to spread north, so indeed we will be getting a blizzard. But we're not there yet. Right now, we'll show you the temperatures. 13 degrees, it feels like it's 22 below. Winds northeast 22, gusting to 28, so the wind's picking up. It's getting closer to blizzard conditions. Snow continuing to fall, barometer 30-19 continuing to fall. Now, blizzard warning in effect for the entire Philadelphia region. Coastal flood warning also for the coast for later tonight and also for tomorrow. Temperatures in the single digits to the north, teens in the south, wind chills way below zero, 22 below in the city. The latest radar shows snow all over the place, but I want to point out heavier precipitation down in southern Delaware. Now, radar does not detect snow real well. This is some really, really heavy stuff, but in Salisbury, Maryland, right down about there, they're mixing in with sleet. So we're going to have to watch the progress of that area along with the heavy snow. But a mixture with ice and freezing rain trying to work its way up just a little bit, and that would cut down the snow accumulations at the coast to maybe a mere foot. Now, heaviest snow by 6 o'clock this morning was just south of Wilmington. It obviously moved through Wilmington. It's coming up through Philly in the next couple of hours as the storm itself strengthens along the coastline. Then it moves slowly out to sea. We're still in the heavy snow by tomorrow morning. Heavy winds, gusty winds. By this morning, we just had a couple of inches of snow. By this evening at 9 o'clock, there could be a foot around part of Philadelphia. A foot of snow by 9 o'clock this evening. more than a foot to the south and still coming down and getting windier and windier. And storm totals 20 to 30 inches from Washington to Baltimore to parts of Delaware, parts of Jersey, maybe even close to Philly. 15 to 25 inches north and west, 8 to 15 up in the Poconos. And a wider view of that, about the only modifications now is maybe trimming this back from the southeast because of the warmer air starting to come in from the Atlantic. These type of storms, every storm has a character to it, personality. They're all different, and so we have to follow it hour by hour and see what changes. Here's the forecast then around here for today. Obviously, the blizzard warning in effect, snow and winds increasing. A blizzard mainly this afternoon and evening. 23 for the high would be this evening if a little bit of that warmer air comes in, and that will make the snow a little less fluffy. Tonight, blizzard conditions, heavy snow and wind, blowing and drifting, temperature right around 20 degrees. And for tomorrow, the heavy snow will be ending, taper off to flurries, but it'll be extremely windy, so there'll be a lot of blowing and drifting. 28 degrees for the high temperature. And the 5-day forecast shows drier weather coming in for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Temperatures gradually warming up. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, giving us a few days to dig out Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and to give us weather people a few days to catch up on some sleep.
Yeah, you need to.
Thank you,
I got to tell you, this morning was kind of tough coming in. We came in at about between 3 and 4 this morning, and I did some slippering and sliding. Snow wasn't even on the road right there.
It was just getting started.
Well, needless to say, not a good day to go outside, but we're going to say it anyway and go to Mary Cantel, who can tell us about the latest road conditions.
From Metro Traffic.
Well, thank you. Thanks a lot. Right now, the major problem is poor visibility. Whether you're on major or secondary roads, the drive will be treacherous, and it's only destined to get worse. Some earlier problems on the Schuylkill and 95 fortunately have cleared, and there is light volume there. There is a problem spot in Montgomery County on northbound Route 309 that is shut down near Route 63 due to an overturned vehicle. That is just one incident of many overturned and spun out vehicles. So we would like to just let you know about that one because it is a major thoroughfare. Some good news in all of this, SEPTA is running on a regular Sunday schedule. They have called us to say that their city, suburban, and regional rail lines are all running without a hitch. Just this morning there was just a minor problem with the R7 Trenton line, but otherwise SEPTA is in pretty good shape. And that's the latest from Metro. Back to you.
Thanks for that. Mary Cantel and Metro Traffic will be...
Doozy of a storm, and we're going to be watching it very closely. 1 to 2 feet of snow expected across our area. And again, one of the more recent ones that delivered that kind of punch was 1983, February 11th, just over 21 inches of snow. Now, as early as like midsummer, myself, Craig Weber, Tom Lemaine, Harold Van Ness, we looked at some of the global indicators and said, you know what, guys, with all of these hurricanes that we had, almost 20 named storms this past summer, this looks like this is going to be a normal winter for us. And as it is turning out, it definitely will be above normal, probably. I mean, normally we get in the greater Philadelphia region 20 to 22 inches of snow each winter. We may get all of that with this one particular storm. And that's what's causing some of the concern right now. As the storm continues to dump heavy amounts of snow, the gusty wind, the blowing situation that's expected, that is going to cause a major concern later today. Coastal flooding in effect. Our neighbors down in southern New Jersey, coastal New Jersey and Delaware, that's going to be a major concern there with the astronomical high tide expected late tonight, early tomorrow morning. And as you head inland, maybe 10 or 15 miles, on top of all this snow, they're expected to have some sleet and freezing rain. The bottom line, do not travel if you don't have to. Joining us right now is the Franklin Institute's chief big guy over there, Harold Van Ness. Harold, when you deal with a storm of this magnitude, it's always interesting to speculate. We are talking about the possibility of a secondary low. What would that mean for the greater Philadelphia region?
David, there's a couple of things. Meteorologists love to speculate on these sort of things. And if we do develop a secondary low, which is sort of common as these lows come up the coast, up around Cape Hatteras, the birthplace of secondary lows, if that does happen, that could slow things down a little bit, and that could mean prolonged precipitation, which means we get the higher amounts of the 1 to 2 feet or so that we're forecasting. However, to contra that, to go on the other side of it, looking at the upper levels of the atmosphere and looking at the way the jet stream is configured right now, we've got about 150 to 175 miles an hour of wind going at 30,000 feet right now. the way the upper levels of the atmosphere are going is that we could see the storms move in a maybe a little bit quicker pattern than we thought. So that might keep us in the middle of our 1 to 2 feet zone here. So a couple of things that we have to watch all day, and unfortunately they're not the type of things that our computer models are really good at helping us with. It's the sort of thing that we need to sort of watch and let happen, and that's what we're going to be doing here today. Right now, though, the 1 to 2 feet looks like we're going to be pretty accurate right in that zone. Of course, we have 12 inches to play with there, David.
Yeah. Okay, Harold, I guess the word to our viewers, stay tuned and stay informed.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll check back with you a little bit later on. So there you go, Lou and Amy. Snow continues to fall outside right now, 4 inches or so, and it's going to continue to fall at an average rate of about 1 inch an hour, ending possibly by tomorrow morning. Back to you guys.
I like the way Harold covered himself there, actually, David. You know, it's like me saying the Eagles should win from, anywhere from 3 to 30 points.
Right, you got a foot to play with.
You know, hey, Brenda Jarrett delivered.
Yeah, this is her apple spice raisin, and I'm not even a big apple fan, but...
I'm back out here again. Blizzard in 96. Severely intensifying at this point. Wind-driven snow. Let's see if I can fix this camera here. Yeah. So, get a little tough to walk. Oh boy, a little deep. There's the roof of the house, a little crooked. I'm in trouble with the camera here. But there you can see it is absolutely pouring right now. You could hear it too. This is what it looks like. This could be the one that sets the record here. So someday if I have kids, Daddy didn't lie. It's really that bad. Come around. There it comes. It's pretty neat. And here, I just walked here. Maybe.
Well, let's see what's happening.
Accurate, convenient, and dependable. Only on the Weather Channel.
You're drinking Carnation
in the last 2 hours. That is almost a rate of 3 inches of snow per hour. Incredibly heavy. It is beginning to mix with sleet in Washington, D.C., Salisbury, Maryland, near Cape May, New Jersey.
That area is moving to the north a little bit, but the band extremely heavy snow just to the north of that. Now we're going to toss it over to John Bolaris in the studio with some more on this storm.
Glenn, we're going to be back to Bolaris in just a moment. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more in just a moment. Stay with us.
We are now looking at 18 to 24 predictions. We've had 12 inches already as of 1 o'clock. Dave Roberts is going to be one for the books, and it's nasty.
Well, it's one for the books no matter what happens. It may be one for the record books too, Mark. We may have the all-time hitter now. The winds continue to gust at over 35 miles per hour, and one of the problems is drifting. Right here to my right, we've been shoveling this area where we stand like every 10 or 15 minutes. 15 minutes ago, this area here, if we can take a look at it on this camera over here, Eddie's got a shot, I think. You can take a look at that, and you can see the drift that's there. We're well over, there it is. I'm just going to stand in there. And it's up to here, so we're up to over 12 inches of snow right there, and that's just from the drift as the snow continues to come down. So that's the situation there as far as the drifting is concerned. We want to check in with Joe Bastardi now from AccuWeather. He's on the line. Joe, it seems as if it can't get worse than this. Tell us that it can't, Joe.
Well, the problem with the storm now, Dave, is that the combination with the wind increasing, the snow rates don't have to be that great to just continually make the storm worse and worse, because you got blowing and drifting going on. And, you know, in any snowstorm, it doesn't snow consistently hard. Just like in a rainstorm, it doesn't snow or it doesn't rain consistently hard in a rainstorm. It lets up, it comes back, that type of thing. And we will be seeing that. Obviously, if it were snow 2 inches an hour for the next 18 hours, there'd be more snow than what we're predicting. So we don't think that. I want to say something here. Since we started keeping records in Philadelphia, there have been approximately 13,000 winter days since the 1800s. And the fact of the matter is, by putting out a forecast for 12 to 24 inches with what we did yesterday, which included, of course, the 21.3 inches, we were predicting basically a 1 in 13,000 event, right? Because there's only been one time there's been 21.3 inches of snow in a 24-hour period. I don't think people should focus so much on that number, whether we get 20 or 22. And the way to measure snow, by the way, and know how much you got, is not by paying attention to what happened at the airport. None of us live there. Go out in your backyard and stick the ruler in there, and whatever you have to shovel, that's how much snow fell. And in any storm, Dave, as you know, there are variations around the area. Just like in a rainstorm, you may be driving around and...
Degrees, Allentown 10, snowing in the Poconos. Horizontal snow. Reading 11 degrees, blowing snow and snow at the airport, as Glenn mentioned. 12 inches of snow on the ground right now and still snowing to beat the band. Wilmington snowing 14 degrees. I believe they picked up about 9 inches already, perhaps a little bit more than that. Dover, you have some sleet mixed in, and that's the change over there. Dover has some sleet. Millville, Jersey, you're reporting all sleet at this hour. 29 degrees Atlantic City, snow, but probably mixing with sleet down there as well. And there's that line, that snow versus the sleet line, and that will keep the amounts a little bit lower as you head down towards the shore. You get the mixing for a while, and then later on tonight, down the shore as well, you get a complete change over to all snow. Even in and around the city, you may see some sleet at times. Then again, all snow overnight, but still the accumulations will be very high. Currently, we're watching a storm system develop along the Carolina coast. This is one storm system. Another one is really taking shape along the Hatteras coastline. This one is bombing out. We call bombogenesis, an exploding storm system along the Hatteras coastline. We have the Arctic air, we have the moisture, we have the storm. It is moving up along the coast. By 6 o'clock, it'll be off Hatteras and then begin to pull out to sea tomorrow morning. What does this mean? It's going to continue to come down. Heavy snow, some sleet, blizzard conditions right through the nighttime hours. This thing is far from over, and then begin to pull away during the day on Monday, and tomorrow afternoon will be windy and cold with leftover snow flurries, but not before we pick up a ton of snow. There's the radar. Still very heavy snow to the south and west of the city. Dulles International, 14 inches of snow on the ground now. 15 to 25 we're calling for by tomorrow afternoon in and around the city. 10 to 20 inches in the Poconos, 15 to 25 Lehigh Valley. 10, maybe as much as 20 inches in sections down the shore, right around the immediate coastal sections, 10 inches as you move about 40 miles inland, about 15, maybe 20 inches of snow. It'll depend just how much mixing takes place. I'm going to throw it back now to Siani.
All right.
To the south of our area, and it continues to intensify. One thing, though, that rain snow line, it's already changed over to freezing rain and sleet over in the Jersey Shore areas. and we've been watching that rain snow line progress northwestward. That may play a part, but you know, by that time, Beverly, the damage is already done. We have a foot of snow on the ground at Philadelphia International Airport, and whatever snow is on the ground is going to continue to be blown back and forth by the strong gusty winds, and that really is going to hamper right on through the morning hours the cleanup efforts to try to get the roadways cleared away. No sooner is the roadway plowed than the winds bring that snow right back on again.
Alrighty. Thank you much, Tom. You know, Tom mentioned the rain snow line, the changeover down the Jersey Shore.
That's right.
News 3's Carol Erickson has been down the Jersey Shore since early this morning. I was watching her this morning on the boardwalk in Atlantic City. Goofiest thing I ever saw, snow plows on the boardwalk. Huh, Carol?
Snow plows, Brennan, and people actually doing snow angels and snowball fights. It's unbelievable weather down here. We're getting some giant flakes, and we're also getting pelted by some freezing rain, so it's a real mixture, and the wind is whipping up. It would be whipping up even more, but I'm standing in front of a barricade so that we're not
shut down for tomorrow. And the D.C. city government, except for essential personnel, is shut down for tomorrow too. So it's a big storm. It's having quite an impact.
That seems like a wise bet, Jeff. Snow still falling back as far as eastern Indiana and central areas of Kentucky. Jeff Morrow, thank you very much. We'll be back with you very shortly. I want to take you back now to some of the pictures we've shot the last couple of days. First stop, we'll take you on into the Dalles area. Snow has fallen yesterday at least, and now just very cold air today in Dalles. We've had temperatures running in the middle 20s today for that ball game. Thought we had some pictures, some video possibly coming up. If not, tell you what, let's go to the actual radar shot, see what's happening around the eastern third of the U.S. And the radar scope is waiting, willing, able. No video. Okay, how about radar? Let's try that radar. That's a nice little outlet. And that radar, yeah, really tells that story. You can see our snow flying now up into New York, snow falling at the rate of 1 or 2 inches per hour in the city. Philadelphia as well. Washington, as Jeff mentioned, about 13 on the ground. Officially now 15 out of Dulles Airport. Look at our snow, though, still spinning back in Ohio and much of central and eastern Indiana back towards Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville, you've had about 10 or 11 inches already, and still pockets of snow in northern Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. Roads are pretty treacherous in the Atlanta area where locally 1 to 2 inches has fallen. Probably not much more expected here. Well, there's your culprit, low pressure right about over Wilmington, North Carolina. Will likely take a track right on up to about the areas, looks like around the Tidewater, and then work its way on farther northbound, probably skirting the shoreline in New Jersey, then starting to bend away from that shore. And as it does, it looks like that snow will fall very heavily tonight into tomorrow in and around the areas around Boston, Providence, and Hartford. All right, you can see our snow history showing the heaviest of snow has fallen in Virginia and West Virginia. And once again, some of these areas have just been clocked with very, very heavy snowfall. This area right about here, that's right there, the X, about 22 inches so far around Lewisburg, West Virginia. We've had tallies of as much as a foot in northeastern Georgia over by the Sky Valley ski area. And again, travel very difficult at best in the major urban areas in North Carolina. Charlotte, 1 to 3 inches. The Triad area, Greensboro, 8 to 10 inches, including Winston-Salem. Travel not recommended probably for a couple of days on I-40 in that area, as the road crews will be very, very handicapped with a limited amount of equipment. Snowfall could be as much as 2 to 3 feet. I think we'll scale that back a little bit, but the mountain areas in eastern West Virginia and western Virginia, Shenandoah Park area could really get clocked. The higher hills above Front Royal in Virginia, watch out. And also in the southern parts of New England, you're not done yet. Could see another foot.
Oh, here we are again. Calling for almost 2 feet, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Right now, believe it or not, 13 inches. 13 inches of snow. It's about 1:30. Falling to 2.5 inches an hour. Unbelievable. Let me turn around here. Let you see the snow come right in towards the camera. Look at that. That is just pouring snow. Unbelievable. That's unreal. Very cold out too. Must be, I'd say, there's the wind blowing right off the houses. Must be about, well, they're saying 27 below. That wind. There it goes. Roof, on the roof of the house. Look at that. There we go at a gust. It's a blizzard out here today. Oh, let me go around the front. Here's the walkway. Let's go to the front door. Try not to fall here. This thing is so deep. Front door. Almost covered. Of the house. Let's go into the car one more time. Just to show what kind of depth this was today. Look down here. Tire almost full. These cars were wiped off, by the way. Look at that. Definitely. Little standing there. Look at the shot. My foot was that. There you go. It's almost the white out now. Almost the white out. Kids playing football. This is what's happening now. They're calling for a possible. They don't even know what they're calling for anymore. Take around. Try not to let the camera get hit with snow.
Butter knife. A butter knife.
Pouring down snow. A couple feet, maybe a little more. Lenny, it's pouring.
Why don't you see how deep it is on this stand?
That's my last picture right here because it's too crazy. Till tomorrow.
Live picture of City Line Avenue, and it looks like the snow has picked up once again. We saw it slow down just a little bit, but it's falling down all over again.
It's going to mean a lot of drifting snow tonight. Let's check in now with John Baleris and see what's going on weather-wise. John.
Yeah, Tim and Sienna, the heaviest snow band has moved through, but there'll be on and off periods of heavy snow to moderate snow right through the nighttime hours. Additional accumulations on top of the 22.5, no, make that 23 inches now at the airport. The all-time record snowstorm, and we're in it. Temperature 21 degrees now, but look at the wind chill. Don't go outside. Dangerous wind chill factor, minus 17, because the winds are gusting to 44. Down the shore, they're gusting to 52. And we have snow. The high 21, the low 13. All right, what's happening outside now throughout the Delaware Valley? You know what's happening. It's just frigid. Let's move on to the next map, please. There we go. The wind chills down well below zero, down to minus 28 in Allentown. Got some fog in Wilmington at this hour, but within the next hour, more snow moving in. Some sleet in Millville, minus 6 wind chill Dover. You have sleet and snow everywhere. It's just snow, patches of moderate snow, and a few patches of heavy snow. There's the radar. How much more snow over the past, well, 12 hours? The snow bands have moved in, but you can see they kind of floated on up and out to sea now. Some patches of moderate snow, moderate sleet, but mainly snow just south and west of the city right now, and extends all the way back down towards D.C. So we're not out of the woods yet. And you take it one step beyond, it goes all the way back down towards Virginia, and it's kind of rotating a little bit in our direction. This storm system is still sitting right about there, and it's moving very slowly. So we're in the snow right through the nighttime hours, right through your morning rush. And not really, it won't be a morning rush, it'll be a morning walk. No one should be out tomorrow morning. Let's check it out for you. Snow amounts. How much snow did you get in your particular town? Well, there we go, up to 23 inches now and counting at the airport. 23, Exton, PA, Doylestown, a foot, just a foot. Morristown, New Jersey, 24 inches of snow. Swedesboro, New Jersey, 2 feet of snow. Cherry Hill, 18 and adding up. Wilmington, Delaware, 14 inches of snow. Do you call this the storm of the century? Yeah, I guess so. 93 we call it. Well, this is, I don't know, the mother of all storms. 10 to 20 inches of snow will be down the shore. That will be the final tally. A little mixing there. 20 to 30. I'm saying 20 to 30 inches of snow, Delaware Valley. And 18 to 24 in the Poconos. Let's wrap it up for you. The forecast for tonight. Windy, very cold, snow, blowing and drifting 5 to 10 feet, drifts, teens, temperatures, wind chill, minus 10 to minus 25. Tomorrow, more snow in the morning. Changes to flurries, tapering off to flurries, severe blowing and drifting. Temperature 26, wind chill, minus 10 to minus 25. Look at the 5-day. You could say, hey, we're going to catch a break, but look out towards the end of the week. Computer models trying to generate, yes, another storm in the east. This perhaps will not be the beast in the east, but it's something we got to watch. We do get a break on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with temperatures getting above the freezing mark. And it's not really that bad.
Unbelievable, John. Thank you very much.
Let's check in now with how things are going in Delaware. We have Governor Carper on the phone right now. Governor, Tim Lake and Siani Lee here. First of all, tonight, how are your road crews?
This way, the roads will stay closed at least through noon tomorrow because of high winds and whiteouts. That means only by emergency vehicles, road personnel going to work, and oil and milk deliveries. Now, for the latest on the blizzard, let's go outside to Cecily Tynan. Cecily.
Well, Rob, here on City Line, the winds are still very strong. We're getting a little bit of a lull in the snowfall, but don't let this fool you. Still a lot of moisture to deal with. Action radar shows that we're beginning to see some breaks in the system down over Virginia. But if you look, you can see the way the gaps are being filled in from the wraparound moisture. So this means throughout the night, overnight, the blizzard conditions will continue. 26 inches right now at the airport. We could see about 30 before all is said and done. The overnight low 18 degrees, but with the wind chill feeling as low as 20 degrees below zero. And AccuWeather says the winds will probably not be dying down until tomorrow night. The snow probably will be ending by noon tomorrow. Rob?
In Philadelphia, public and parochial schools will be closed tomorrow. Philadelphia and Camden city governments will also be closed, except for those.
Take a look right now, 26 inches in Philly, across the river in Cherry Hill, good old Cherry Hill, New Jersey, 21 inches. In Washington, depending on where you are, out in the suburbs, out around Gaithersburg, out in Dulles, around Dulles Airport, going out Fairfax County and in Loudoun County, 19 inches. I believe right now 14 to 15 on the ground at National, and so far 14 at LaGuardia in New York City. Not quite as much snow there. A little bit of dry air has been kind of wrapped in around the storm, but it's still snowing, and we're still seeing Jill Brown live from Central Park in New York City. Jill has been tracking the snowfall all afternoon. Now, actually, New York City getting the worst of the snow during the late afternoon. It was snowing at the rate of 3 to 4 inches an hour during the afternoon hours around dinner time at LaGuardia, and that rivals the storm back in 1983 when we had snowfall totals per hour at 5 inches an hour. So very impressive stuff, and I believe we're going to go to Jill Brown very shortly. She's in the park in New York City where the snow will be adding up. There's still a blizzard warning tonight, and for those of you watching out on Long Island or on the North Shore, the Jersey Shore, the second problem will be the coastal flooding. We'll get to that in a moment. Now, let's go to Jill Brown in New York City. Jill, tell us about what's going on right now in the park.
Mike, we're on the south end of Central Park, and that has helped us a little bit here on the upper west side where the winds have come down from the north. So they have about 50 blocks of trees through the park to kind of block some of that wind. And that has definitely helped matter somewhat. But you can see that the snow is blowing around, and it's picked up a little bit in the last couple of hours. We had about an hour or more where it was very light, and we thought, well, maybe we're at the tail end of this or something. But things have picked up again, and we're getting more of that, of course, moisture in from the Atlantic. And we're going to go ahead and do the check for you again on our bench over here and show you how much snow we have. You can see that if we kind of clear away a spot, we have a good 10, maybe 11 inches at this point. We're working on a foot. No, we don't have as much, I think, here as they have at the airport, but it is continuing to come down. Just about everything here in Manhattan is closed tonight, so pretty quiet by New York City standards.
Okay, Jill, I'm sure the Monday morning rush hour will be a real debacle. A lot of people probably will stay home, and we'll check back with you in about an hour in the Big Apple, the Weather Channel's Jill Brown. Now, it's also been snowing not only in New York City, but out on the island. If you're trying to get around on the LIE, the Long Island Expressway this afternoon, you probably saw pictures like this. This lady cleaning off her car, cars stranded on the side of the expressway, Sunken Meadow virtually shut down. Traffic is moving, but notice basically four-wheel drive vehicles, always a good idea. Visibility very low, and now we're getting wind gusts to 40 to 50 miles an hour, which is causing the blizzard conditions. And you know, you got to give credit to the road crews. It's almost impossible, actually it is impossible, to stay ahead of a snowfall rate of 3 to 4 inches an hour. By the time they clear off a section of road, it's covered back over. They'll be able to catch up later on tonight though, but the snows are going to continue in New York as they are right now. Here's the radar from the northeast, and it's still snowing. I just went on my dinner break here in Atlanta, and it's snowing in Atlanta, continuing to snow shower, only an inch on the ground, but an inch of snow in Atlanta is like 2 feet in New York. Still a lot of ice on the highways. That will cause problems. The storm, though, is still throwing a lot of moisture back in towards Long Island. You saw it snowing in the park with Jill Brown, snowing now into southern New England. Heaviest snowfalls though we'll avoid northern New England. For instance, the ski resorts, you're not going to get much of anything, but Boston, especially out on the Cape around Nantucket, and all these areas in here have just gotten pounded. We mentioned the all-time 24-hour record in Philadelphia, and the snows continue. And even around Dover, where it's been sleeting, cold air is coming back in. Salisbury, you'll go back over to snow, maybe pick up a couple more inches tonight as that moisture feeds in from this tremendous storm. And it's not quite over yet. Back through West Virginia, some of the ski resorts there getting over 2 feet. In northwestern North Carolina, up in the Appalachians around Boone and Ski Beach, 27+ inches of snow. And you can still see some of the snow flurries around Birmingham and Atlanta, a few flakes in the south, and that causes tragedy on the highways. There's your snowfall history, at least a foot in many areas from Kentucky all the way into the Mid-Atlantic, the Jersey Turnpike, the northeast extension of the Pennsylvania Turnpike, very slippery. Stay off the highways. And don't forget to check ahead if you're doing any flying into the Northeast tomorrow, or if you're trying to get out. Getting out, forget it. Trying to get in, too, you're probably going to have delays, say if you're flying from Chicago or Atlanta or Dallas into Washington, New York, or Philadelphia. Quickly, the other aspect of the storm, this could be a real problem tonight and tomorrow at time of high tide. We've got coastal flood warnings. We've got storm warnings. That means winds will be sustained at 55 miles an hour or higher, wind gusts to hurricane force, and that will pile the water up along the coast as the wind comes in like this. And the North Shore, Long Island, Nassau, Suffolk County, out around Oyster Bay, also Bayville, Glencoe, Port Washington. Serious problems. Tides could be running as high as 6 feet above normal at time of high tide right on through tomorrow.
Special report. In Pennsylvania tonight, Governor Tom Ridge has ordered that all highways in eastern Pennsylvania tonight at 10 o'clock until noon tomorrow. Now, what this means is that only police, emergency vehicles, and cars taking doctors or other essential people throughout this part of the state are legally allowed on the highways. Again, the governor has ordered that all highways in eastern Pennsylvania, and this includes the greater Philadelphia region, be legally closed at 10 o'clock tonight, and they will remain closed until noon tomorrow. We'll, of course, have more on the emergency declaration in New Jersey and Delaware tonight, and we'll have all of this coming up on News 10 at 11 o'clock tonight. Now back to the movie.
I heard your car.
I'm back in the cold air, and we're getting very heavy snows through the Mid-Atlantic and up through the I-95 corridor. We want to show you this time around what it's like today. This is Amityville on the South Shore, Long Island. Blizzard conditions, whiteouts, you name it. Cars off the LIE or the Sunken Meadow, depending on your mode of travel, your route of travel today on the Long Island area through Nassau and Suffolk County. Heavy snows trying to get into the city, hampered travel for a while. Unfortunately, emergency vehicles out there. Unfortunately, the snowplows, too, trying to keep
Ridge tonight. He is closing all state and local roads at 10 o'clock tonight except for emergency personnel. The reason? Possible for vehicles to drive safely. Even many snowplows are being pulled off the roads. The ban expected to remain in effect until noon tomorrow. And of course, all public and parochial schools in Philadelphia will be closed. A similar ban in New Jersey tonight and tomorrow as well on the highways. See you at 11.
Blizzard of 96.
Here's a scene live outside our studio at this hour as the worst storm to hit the Delaware Valley continues to pound our region. The city is basically shut down. A blizzard warning has been declared. It will remain in effect through tomorrow. The snow just keeps falling and falling and falling. A record 26 inches has blanketed the area so far, crushing the previous record of 21 inches set in February 1983. It's not expected to stop for several more hours.
The blizzard of 96 howls into the Philadelphia area, dumping 2 feet of snow, and it's not over yet. State emergencies have been declared across the northeastern United States as the storm continues to bring almost everything to a halt. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tracy Matisak.
And I'm Rich Noonan. Here's what's happening tonight. A very mean night in the Philadelphia region after a rough day. The blizzard continues. Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and several other states will be digging out for days. First, we need to get a break in the weather, and as of right now, it is still snowing all over the region. We are looking at a live picture from the base of the Ben Franklin Bridge at the toll plaza where the blowing snow continues. The next big concern inland is drifting snow. At the shore, tidal flooding could be devastating. The headlines as of right now, all major roadways are snow covered. Plowed snow has closed most on and off ramps. Only four-wheel drive vehicles with high ground clearance are moving, but many of them are stuck and abandoned. What is closed? We will give you a list in a moment, but it might be more appropriate to ask what is open. Every major event is postponed, and most school districts will not be open tomorrow. And what about tomorrow? The back-to-work day will likely be a stay-at-home day. Despite the best efforts by road crews, they simply do not have enough time to plow all this snow away by morning.
Well, some things have to get worse before they get better, and that has certainly been the case with this storm. Just when you thought it had snowed all it could, it snowed some more. And as Rich said, it is still snowing. Frank Cariello is standing by now to tell us what we can expect in the next few hours. Frank?
Tracy, our immediate concerns continue to be heavy snow bands that are rotating through Philadelphia, as we just saw in that live picture a minute ago. We have northeast winds at 20 to 45 miles an hour inland, up to 60 miles an hour overnight along the New Jersey shore. Bitter cold wind chills and that blowing and drifting will hamper any effort to shovel your driveway or clear major roadways across the metropolitan area. If we take a look at some of the wind chills out there right now, it feels like 21 below in Allentown, 17 below in Trenton, and in Center City, Philadelphia, it feels like 26 below zero. Snowfall totals an easy 30 inches in metropolitan Philadelphia by the morning, up to 16 inches in the Lehigh Valley, 12 to 18 inches along the New Jersey shoreline. And for you record keepers out there, officially 27 inches of snow at Philadelphia International Airport and counting. As I mentioned, we can expect another 3 to 8 inches overnight. I'll let you know when all this is going to wrap up just a little bit later in the broadcast, Rich.
All right, Frank, big concern tonight.
And we had the heaviest snowfall pretty much in the same area. Different scenario here. Basically the same path, maybe slightly further after all, but this one has had heavier snowfall. And some all-time records have fallen by the wayside. Check this out. Philadelphia.
It is the blizzard of 96, a record-breaking winter storm of historic proportion. And tonight, every road and highway in southeastern Pennsylvania and all state highways in New Jersey are shut down. Take a look at this live picture from City Line Avenue right outside of our studios here. The snow continues to pile up, and it is scenes like this that tonight prompted Pennsylvania Governor Tom Ridge to take drastic action, closing all roads in central and southeastern Pennsylvania to keep the drivers off them. Tim.
That move was indeed drastic, but it shows you just how serious this storm has become. The governor's order closes all roads. That's all roads in 47 eastern counties of Pennsylvania. Again, that includes all of southeastern Pennsylvania. Only emergency vehicles, cars taking doctors or maybe utility crews to work, or vehicles making oil or milk deliveries will be legally allowed to drive on the highways until noon tomorrow. That effect is in order is in effect until noon tomorrow. There's also a state of emergency in New Jersey. Some 1,500 guardsmen are on alert tonight throughout the state. State police have shut down all state highways except to emergency traffic. And the priority in New Jersey tonight, down the shore, where major tidal flooding is expected. And more the same in Delaware. Governor Tom Carper declared a state of emergency at 6 o'clock tonight. His staff is continually assessing the situation in Delaware, and they're also concerned about the flooding at the Delaware shore. Well, this blizzard of 96 is breaking all kinds of records for us.
It certainly is, and it's not over yet. But just how much longer is this going to last? Well, we turn now to meteorologist John Bolaris, who's been tracking this storm all day long from the Weather Center, and he's got the very latest now. John.
Yes, Yanni and Tim, know what's amazing about this storm? Last year, through the entire winter, we did not get 27 inches of snow. We got it in one day with this one, the all-time record, 27 inches of snow for a 24-hour period. The old record was 21.3 inches of snow. All right, here's some snow amounts. Look at 27 inches of snow officially at the airport. All-time record. Doylestown, 20 inches of snow. Bordentown, New Jersey, 24, 2 feet in Morristown as well. And the list goes on. Swedesboro, New Jersey, 2 feet. Cherry Hill, 22. Millville, 15. Hockessin, Delaware, 19 inches. That's located just west of Wilmington, Delaware. This has been one major snowstorm, and it continues. It will add up more during the overnight period. Look at the radar as snow bands continue to move in our direction. You may step outside a little bit now, look out your window and say, hey, looks like it stopped a little bit, maybe a little sleep, but to the south and west, D.C., it's snowing heavy once again, and snow bands will be moving in overnight and through tomorrow morning. So the snow is not over, and the pounding continues down the shore. Coastal flood warning for tonight and again tomorrow morning. High tide took place at 8:45. A couple of hours after that in the back bays, 9:51 tomorrow morning. Cape May, 8:45 tomorrow morning, I should say. And at those times, we're anticipating severe flooding. Tides running up to 6 feet above normal, not since the 1991 storm of Halloween. Are we going to get as bad as we did then, and we're going to get hit one more time down this way? There's one little saving grace. If the storm moves a little bit quicker, instead of getting the very strong easterly winds, northeast winds, which have been gusting to 55 miles per hour, if it moves up a little bit quicker, the winds will veer a little bit more to a northerly direction, and that would alleviate a major blow down the shore tomorrow morning. But right now, that's a little bit iffy, and we'll keep you posted on that during the wee hours of the morning. I'll have more details a little bit later on in this broadcast. Tim and Ciani.
Heaviest activity continues to move through our region right now. Looks like we are seeing a dry line, as you can see in the southwest sections of the greater Philadelphia region. We'll take a more detailed look at the storm, let you know when it's going to be moving out of our region and what we can expect later on. The 5-day planner does call for more snow by the end of the week. I'll have those details with your exclusive Franklin Institute forecast. Larry, Ben?
Make a snowball with it. This is not a winter wonderland. Live in Bala, I'm Mike Strug, News 10.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. We want to check on the conditions in South Jersey. The blizzard has apparently brought things to a virtual standstill in that area. The snow-covered streets of Cherry Hill, Camden County this evening with a lack of moving cars, but plenty of huge snowplow trains keeping the main roads open, but only a handful are braving the blizzard.
I've had about 6 people come in so far. That's about it. Not doing too much here. I don't know why they just don't close.
And that gentleman there apparently talking about the business in the area being hurt. Most businesses have closed because people simply cannot get to them, even if they did want to venture out. And as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, New Jersey has declared a state of emergency. New Jersey Governor Kristi Whitman wants everyone, she says, to use their heads and stay at home tonight.
The emergency order keeping people off the road is only for tonight. We are going to reassess early in the morning to see whether, in fact, we extend the emergency order to close businesses tomorrow. I hope that's not necessary. I'd rather not do that in a mandatory fashion, but have businesses use their common sense as they take a look around and see what the roads are like.
Governor Whitman has already closed state government at least through tomorrow. Tim.
And down the Jersey shore, the concern is now turning from snow to water. A coastal flood warning is in effect down the shore at this hour. We turn now to News 10 New Jersey correspondent Terry Ruggles, who is live tonight in Ventnor. Terry.
Tim, a little hard to stand up down here. The wind is gusting. Take a look at this fir tree behind me on the other side of the street by the one-way sign there. The thing that is really impressive, however, that I'd like you to notice, take a look at the water in the street. This water wasn't there when we got here, and that water is part of the bay. That's right, we're on the bay side, and this is the worry for people up and down the shore. Back bay flooding, as John was talking about earlier. Now, tonight it's this bad. Tomorrow it's supposed to be worse. I talked to the Public Safety Director, the Emergency Preparedness Director for the City of Ventnor, and talked about his concerns with this. You're saying this is not as high as you expect it to get?
No, we're expecting worse than a 92 storm, which was roughly 9.5 feet. They're saying possibly a 10. That means major flooding here in town.
What will flood here?
Most of Ventnor Heights, the areas along the bay, a good portion of the city.
How many people will be surrounded by water?
We're anticipating, we're gearing up for a shelter for at least 200 people if it gets that bad.
Now, that is just Ventnor. Ventnor has set up the St. James Memorial Hall for emergency preparedness. That doesn't open until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. In Margate, the Union Avenue School will be open. In Atlantic City, the Martin Luther King School, and so it goes up and down the coastline. John Bolaris's note about the wind is maybe changing is certainly good news down here if it does happen, because if these people have to be evacuated, it is not going to be fun at all with the cold and the wind and the water on the streets. Should happen, if it does happen tomorrow, about 8 to 10 o'clock in the morning. That's when it would be the highest here. We'll be standing by to see. Reporting live from Ventnor, I'm Terry Ruggles.
Okay, Terry, thank you very much. And from
way around the Art Museum Circle, that's the situation tonight. The few cars that are out are paying no attention to traffic lights or directions. We had one come the wrong way against us on Chestnut Street. I'll tell you, taking a trip tonight is like trying to take a trip in the Arctic Circle. You couldn't walk in it, you couldn't drive in it. In fact, getting anywhere in the blizzard of 96 was almost impossible. The winds piling incredible drifts just about everywhere you look.
I spent the first 20 years of my life in Buffalo, stinking New York, and I never, ever saw snow like this.
Glenn was trying to get his car out of the intersection of 3rd and Pine. It was stuck. Fortunately, there were good Samaritans. Unfortunately, they pushed a little too hard.
It's a record breaker, and I'm just really pleased that God gave me a chance to be a part of it. What more can you say? If it's snowing, it's snowing. What are you going to do about it?
The incredible winds coming with this storm piled the snow so high here on Market Street that you could barely see into the front doors of the federal courthouse. Plows did their best to keep up with the fast-falling snow, but they weren't able to, and many Center City streets were simply closed off. In the suburbs, for emergency medical personnel, there were special problems. Most of the crew members here are volunteers. They're unable to get from their homes to stations in this kind of weather, so many spent the night at firehouses and ambulance corps, bringing their food and their bags and preparing for a long stay to serve the public in emergencies.
Plenty of food. We have a few people back here that enjoy cooking, so we put them right to work with lunch, dinner, and breakfast, and keep the volunteers flowing in and out.
I'm back live in Center City. When was the last time you could walk down Market Street and fall into a shoulder-high snowdrift? And actually, when was the last time you could look at the expressway, 95, and not see a car in any direction for hours? It's one for the record books. It's memorable. Of course, there will be a toll with this storm. Surely we're going to hear about deaths and injuries. But as we listen to the police scanners tonight, we're also hearing maternity calls. Surely in the upcoming days, we'll hear stories about babies of the storm. And that's entirely appropriate, Larry and Bev, because this is a storm that we're going to be telling our children about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember I was telling you we'd probably have a baby boom after this?
Well, is that your assessment? Is that your prediction?
Well, no.
Okay.
No. Walt said that. People in the southern parts of our coverage area, like Delaware, were especially hard hit by this blizzard.
Well, very few people in the first state decided
to resume service tomorrow morning, or if not, tomorrow afternoon, I should say, sometime tomorrow evening. And with the roads in Pennsylvania shut down now until at least noon, legally, meaning you cannot travel, SEPTA is pretty much shut down as well.
Trying to get anywhere is just very, very rough out there. Tomorrow, SEPTA's bus, trolley, subway, and regional rail lines will operate on limited weekend schedules, and there will be no paratransit service, so make a note of that. SEPTA has a 24-hour hotline that you can call, and that number is 215-580-7800, 215-580-7800. And as you might expect, that line is going to be busy all night long, so try to be patient as SEPTA tries to answer commuters' questions about what services will be provided in the morning. And as far as Amtrak service is concerned tomorrow, a Saturday schedule will be in effect, and expect some major delays. Earlier we heard that they had about half-hour delays that could be going up as the night moves on and we get more snow. You can call 1-800-USA-RAIL for the very latest on the train schedules there. Tim.
And as you might expect, Philadelphia's public and parochial schools are simply closed tomorrow. We don't have an official list of every local school district that is shut down, but tonight, you know, it's hard to imagine any district in the area to be open tomorrow, so it's safe to say all the kids will be out of school tomorrow.
Stay at home and enjoy the day off. And there are literally hundreds of other kinds of cancellations. Businesses, local governments, and organizations shutting down at least through tomorrow.
Again, roads in Pennsylvania are closed, legally closed, until noon tomorrow, except for emergencies, and state highways are now closed in New Jersey. We'll have more coverage of the blizzard of '96 coming up in just a few minutes. And we have this important program note. We want you to join the News 10 team from 5 tomorrow morning, right up until noon, as we continue to follow this storm. Earthwatch updates, the latest on road closings, and other critical information that you're going to need to get through the blizzard of '96. That's a special edition of News 10 today from 5 tomorrow morning, right up until noon, right here on NBC 10.
And still to come tonight on
67669. We'll be right back.
But even if the airport does reopen, you should still check with your airline to make sure that the planes are flying.
And if you think that was bad, the situation wasn't much better at 30th Street Station. News 3's Malcolm Poindexter reports.
The all-time winter storm in Pennsylvania. This is the big bad blizzard of 1983, and that was the all-time record breaker for as far as snow amounts in the Philadelphia area. Back then, it happened in the second week of February. The official accumulation from that storm, 22.5 inches, and a mere coating compared with what we've got to deal with tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah, but the saying goes, that was then. We have now, believe me, there's some new information just came into us here at News 10. SEPTA now says no bus service whatsoever tomorrow morning. So SEPTA will not be operating buses tomorrow morning as the governor has closed all the highways in the state. He's
So if you
basically
have plans to
saying
get around tomorrow by bus, forget about it now. Just stay home and enjoy the day off. Let's check in now with John Bolaris. He's got the latest on the forecast and the storm. John?
Yeah, wherever you are right now, that's where you're going to stay. And the blizzard of '83, that was 21.3 inches. This one, the record setter, 27 inches of snow. In '83, that was the white fluffy stuff. This is the heavy, heavy, wind-driven, wet snow that every once in a while mixes in with a little sleet. Let's check it out. Current stats, 22 degrees. Cold enough for snow, you know that. Humidity, 92%. Look at the pressure dropping like a rock. Storm system still to the south. Winds gusting to 31. Wind chills below zero. We have snow. High 22, low 13. Outside now, it indeed is the beast in the east as we check out the tri-state temperatures. 14 in the Poconos. It's snowing. Snowing in Allentown. Snowing in Reading. Snowing in the city, snowing in Wilmington, sleet in Dover, snowing in Atlantic City, and snowing in Trenton, and visibilities down below a quarter of a mile. You factor that in with temperatures 20 or below, sustained wind of 35, and that's why you have the blizzard warnings for tonight. Snow amounts, pick your cities, pick your town. Look at this, 27 at the airport, 23.5 at Swedesboro, Jersey, Cherry Hill, 22 inches of snow, Millville, 14.5, Mays Landing a foot closer to the shore. Bordentown, 24 inches of snow. Morristown, I mentioned that already, 24 inches of snow, 2 feet. Doylestown, 20. Reading, 16. Exton, 17. Hokinson, I think I said that right, maybe. 22 inches of snow in Delaware. And the beat goes on. We're anticipating more snow as we take a look at the radar. And you can see more snow is waiting in the wings to the south and west. Another band of heavy snow moving in from D.C. So more accumulations, 3 to 6 inches more of snow. Storm system still sitting to the south over to Chesapeake, and it's exploding and moving slowly away. More snow overnight, snow tomorrow morning, moderate at times, and then the snow begins to taper off to flurries and light snow by noontime, and then it begins to move out to sea. And sunshine? No, sunshine on Tuesday, but Arctic cold, whatever's there on the ground now, is going to hang around probably all through January, because there may be another storm waiting in the wings. Snow forecast totals. 20 to 30 inches of snow in this band right in here from Trenton on down through Philadelphia, down just through Wilmington and just to the south and east of Reading and Allentown, 18 to 24 inches as you move up into Lehigh Valley. and on up into the Poconos. Down the shore, 10 to 20 inches of snow. But your main problem down there, tidal flooding tonight, severe tidal flooding tomorrow morning at times of high tide, and the winds still howling. Storm warnings are in effect down the shore for winds gusting beyond 50, 55, close to 60 miles per hour. On deck, the storm system we're watching by Friday in the Tennessee Valley, by Friday night and Saturday, racing up the coast. Do we get it or don't we? It's too early to call, but it's something we're watching. And as far as your morning drive goes, I don't think so. Your forecast for tonight, blizzard warning still in effect. Bands of snow, very windy, bitter cold, additional accumulations 3 to 6 inches on top of what we already have. Temperatures in the teens, wind chills well below zero. Tomorrow, snow tapers off to afternoon flurries. Severe blowing and drifting, 26 degrees. Your 5-day forecast as we move on through the week. We get a break in the middle of the week, and then we watch the potential for rain, snow, sleet, again arriving on Friday. It's too early to call. Don't worry just yet. Let's take them one at a time, but it's something we have to wait and see.
Easy for you to say. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. Be
Don't
happy.
Thank you, John.
Okay.
Coming up next.
How can this be car of the year? You can't get up and walk around in a car. Cars don't have seats on rollers, or so many seats, period. Or so much space for so many things. And they certainly don't offer sliding doors on both sides. Well then, it would appear that for the first time ever, the Motor Trend Car of the Year is more than a car. It's a caravan from the new Dodge.
Now, the Franklin Institute forecast with David Rogers. KYW News 3 continues.
Like you, many of us were trapped here tonight. And the highlight of the evening was dinner. Beverly ordered dinner from a local takeout service for 120 people. Unfortunately, we only had 70 here. What's happened to the food, Bev?
I have my priorities straight.
Hey, Dave, what's up?
It was very good, I'll tell you. We all needed some fuel in our tank after a day like today. Again, a history-making storm, folks, moving through the greater Philadelphia region. Still have some major concerns, especially over the next 24 hours. Blizzard warnings remain in effect for the greater Philadelphia region. I think the next set of headlines will be coming from the coastal areas of New Jersey and Delaware, where they do expect some severe flooding. Storm and flood warnings continue there. Now, over the next 24 hours, here are some of our concerns. Blowing and drifting snow, although the snow may stop, the blowing and drifting is going to continue. Coastal flooding, places like Windmore. We're getting a call from Windmore, some sleet and freezing rain now starting to mix in. And again, the next 12 to 18 hours, travel is really not recommended, folks. Joining us right now, the Franklin Institute's chief meteorologist, Harold Van Ness. Harold, it's been a long day, and although this storm seems to be winding down in terms of snow, we're not out of the woods yet.
David, I cannot hear you right now.
Take it away.
But we do know that the winds are going to be the key factor tonight. We're going to see tropical force storm winds into the 50s and perhaps 60s along the coast, and winds will be the key factor. Most of the snow is over for the most part. We'll see periods of some heavier snow again on and off tonight, 3 to 6 inches more through the region by the time it's all said and done. But the winds become the key factor overall tonight. You can see on our radar there is some break up to the south. We in meteorology call that a sucker hole. Don't get fooled by it. We'll get a little bit more throughout the night and into tomorrow, and some occasional snow showers. The winds are the big thing for the next 12 to 18 hours. We will see blowing and we will see drifting from this major storm.
Okay, Harold, and that sucker hole should not be confused with the sucker punch, correct?
That's absolutely right.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, thanks a lot for your help, Harold. Let's take a look at what we have out there, folks. You know, you get kind of batty after being in here since 4 in the morning. Temperatures today, the low 20s across our area. Snow, again, continuing, slacking up in some areas. 21 degrees of current temperature. You factor in the wind. This is really going to be a problem, folks. Out of the northeast to 24, gusting to 28. Now, earlier tonight in town, we had wind gusts up to 46 miles per hour. The wind chill has been below zero throughout most of the day today, and it's not expected to get any better. For the rest of the night tonight, some of the snow expected heavy. We could see an additional 3 to 6 inches of snow. So kind of in the home stretch of this thing, finally, blowing and drifting obviously going to be a problem. 10 to 19 northeasterly winds, 15 to 30 with possibly some of the higher gusts. All right, here's a look at our big satellite vantage point. There's that little hole Harold was talking about. The low pressure center right now, right about the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay, and as it continues to slowly track northeastward, by tomorrow morning about 7 a.m. expected to be just to the east of the Jersey coastline, continuing to pick up a lot of moisture off the ocean. Those wraparound winds, though, will squeeze the atmosphere later in the day, and we'll continue to see snow showers throughout most of the day tomorrow. The blizzard-like conditions, again, expected to continue. Your overnight lows tonight, about 12 degrees in Allentown, 15 in Philadelphia, and Vineland expected to see an overnight low of about 14 degrees. All right, let's take a look at your 5-day planner, making plans for the rest of the week. Get out there, get some more salt. Again, this should start to wind down by tomorrow. 24 degrees your high. Clearing sky and kind of a little mini heat wave here. Temperatures getting above freezing, so maybe some thawing going on. Later in the week, though, increasing clouds on Thursday, and ready or not, folks, could be more snow expected on Friday. We'll keep you on top of it. That's your forecast for now. Be safe out there. Bev, Lair?
Thanks for the great work, Dave. Thanks for the food, Bev. And thank the Eagles for a great season. What a season it was.
Wish they could hear you say that. Unfortunately, they're snowed in Dallas.
Yeah.
But that's the situation tonight we find throughout the city. The roads virtually clear everywhere you can go, city and suburbs, and most people are following the governor's rules and orders tonight. Another problem that we're finding at local hospitals are the continuing call for people with four-wheel vehicles, however, to bring personnel to the hospital to work, so that will complicate those matters. And we found earlier tonight a lot of people working double shifts at the hospitals and critical workers in those areas because they could not get other people in to replace them. That's the latest here from a very cold and frigid Center City and Spring Garden area. Again, watch out tonight if you are going out walking somewhere, because frostbite could become a very serious problem very quickly and in a very stinky manner in these sub-zero temperatures, along with the wind chill factor. Also, from time to time, Rob, you're getting a little bit of the snow turning into a wet, icy kind of hail, and it stings the face, and it stings the hands and other exposed parts of the body. Vernon Ott of Channel 6 Action News, reporting live from Spring Garden.
Thank you, Vernon. Well, Delaware is also under a state of emergency tonight.
Their game postponed with 18th ranked Virginia Tech. There were, however, a few games just south of us. How about Georgia Tech upsetting?
Several earthquakes rocked Southern California this morning. They caused cracks in walls and knocked things off shelves. Nothing too major, though. 7 tremors were felt, the strongest measuring 5.2 on the Richter. Officials say all of the bigger quake last September. The blizzard of '96 has certainly lived up to its billing. Here's Cecily Tynan with the latest from AccuWeather.
Well, Rob, the one good thing about the storm, hopefully everyone was prepared, because AccuWeather says it was going to be a big one, and it certainly was. Let's show you on Satellite 6 that we're not out of the woods yet. You can really see the swirl of the low. Right now the low is working. It's east of the Delmarva Peninsula, continuing to work up to the north, moving at about 20 miles an hour, which is very slow. So we still are seeing wraparound moisture bringing snow as far south as Georgia. Action radar shows that we still have snow covering all of the Delaware Valley. A heavier line across central Pennsylvania. Also some embedded thunderstorms. We have thunder snow, which are actually dumping some ice pellets across the area. So don't be surprised if you see some hail outside, because that's probably what we'll be contending with throughout the night. It's going to be on and off, though. This system will continue to lift up towards the north, then head out into the sea probably by tomorrow afternoon. That means by about noon the snow should be tapering off, but the winds will be kicking up. There's a high wind warning for the New Jersey and the Delaware coast as the wind whips around the system. This also means there's a coastal flood warning in effect for tonight and tomorrow morning at the coast. So the situation is not just the heavy snow, but officially 27.6 inches of snow fell so far at the airport. That has just creamed all of the standing records. The record for snowfall in a 24-hour period was set back in 1983 in February, 21.3 inches. We killed that. Now the record for a storm total, 26 inches, that was set way back in 1899. Almost a 100-year record has now been killed, and AccuWeather says hopefully this will in fact be a storm of a lifetime. I don't want to see another one in my lifetime, that's for sure. The afternoon high today, 22, feeling a lot cooler thanks to the wind chill. 12 was our low, and right now Allentown 18 degrees, Reading 19, Wilmington 20, Atlantic City checking in at 32, but with winds gusting upwards of about 81 miles an hour in Ocean Grove means, of course, the wind chill is bitter. Let's go live in the action cam to City Line, where you can see it's just covered in snow, the street as well. And currently at the airport, 22 degrees, humidity 92%. It's snowing there. Barometer 29.46 and falling. Winds are sustained out of the northeast at 25 miles an hour, gusting at 37 miles an hour. So the wind chill a bitter 11 degrees below zero. In City Line right now, 20 degrees, Center City 23, Northeast 21, Camden 21, the airport 22. The exclusive AccuWeather 5-day forecast. The storm continues tonight. Tomorrow, hopefully it won't be a rush hour, but in the morning, more snow, more wind, blizzard conditions. By tomorrow afternoon, the flurries will be ending, then clearing out throughout the week. But then by Friday, another storm system. Let's not even worry about that yet. Let's get through one.
Okay, thanks. Recapping our big story, the blizzard of 96 is going to go down as the worst ever in the city of Philadelphia. The winter storm has dumped 27 inches on Philadelphia, and we're still counting. It's not over completely yet. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware are all in a state of emergency. State and local roads in Pennsylvania are closed at this hour except for emergencies. Here's what the roads look like in South Jersey and probably all over the tri-state area. This is Haddonfield Road in Pennsauken tonight, and it's a pretty safe bet that very few people will be going to work tomorrow. The kids, of course, are loving this stuff, and we can't imagine that any schools will be open. We do not know of any schools that will be open. They'll have another day to play and maybe even more. And if you're planning on flying somewhere, don't expect to get off the ground until tomorrow afternoon from PHL. The airport is closed. And that is our coverage of the storm of the century, the blizzard of 96. The $1 Million Movie is next on Channel 6. Action News will be back at 5 a.m. when our expanded storm coverage will continue for you. Now for Phil Andrews, Cecily Tynan.
We've had nearly 3 feet of snow reported, even over the central parts of Connecticut near Hartford, a foot to a foot already. Now we still have reports of snow in Boston, visibilities less than 1/2 of a mile, so the snow is still pretty moderate in the eastern parts of Massachusetts, and there's more to come, unfortunately, for northern Connecticut and the central and eastern parts of Massachusetts. I think we've seen the heaviest that we're going to see across parts of the south, as the area of low pressure is located about right here, and as it continues to move away, we'll watch for improving conditions to the south, but still deteriorating conditions throughout the next 24 to 48 hours as the low pressure crosses right over Cape Cod. Now, we've indicated the purple on the map, which takes us to a whole different category, as much as 24 inches of snow or more. So we're talking about 2 to 3 feet of snow. We've seen the southern mountains of West Virginia, even the Panhandle here, Garrett County in western Maryland, very, very heavy snows. There you see the center of the system now, located off the Jersey shore, but it's the counterclockwise winds with it that's really keeping it very, very blustery and blizzard-like across much of central and southern New England. Now, the potential for more snow, again, heaviest to the north here in northern Connecticut, central and eastern Massachusetts. You see only about 1 to 3 inches of additional accumulations expected near our nation's capital and Philadelphia. So the brunt of the heaviest snow we've already seen back here in the mountains of Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Virginia. But before all said and done, we talk about the potential for an additional 6 to 12 inches in central and eastern Massachusetts. Coastal, I believe, Steve?
Yes, if somebody says, let's take a walk on the boards, say no.
New Jersey correspondent Terry Ruggles.
He just drove in from Marlton Light, so I want to find out what were the conditions that you had to drive through.
The roads are not bad. Very heavily plowed, and my route was coming north on 73 and then in on 70. And they're actually down to the bare surface in many places, but the drifting is a problem and visibility. You can't really see when you're running into trouble. So I was four-wheel driving. I wouldn't recommend to anybody that wasn't.
And they're not allowed to be out there either. What about windshield wipers?
I didn't have any trouble. I mean, I would suspect that if they weren't in good shape, again, you'd be in trouble because visibility is bad anyway. But I didn't have any trouble as far as that was concerned.
Okay, thank you very much for that first-hand report, and we'll let you go into KYW News Radio. Thank you, Gene. So anyway, it continues to snow. That is the thing that I just can't believe because it had stopped earlier. And of course, Tom has been explaining why this second wave of snow is coming. Backwash snows, he tells us, and he assures us that it's going to be over soon in the next hour or two. I've been keeping my own little, keeping track of how much snow we have been getting. Tom says the way to really do this is to find a protected area in your backyard, and then you can get your own count of how much snow has fallen in your area. Let's take a look and see just exactly how much we have gotten here. Now, I've got this in the wrong place, so this is not very good. But anyway, Tom LeMaine, you tell people how to do it. We're going to you.
Actually, you're doing it very well, Barbara. We said it'd be an additional 2 inches. We had 24 inches, and now you measured 26 out there. The reason why I think it's going to stop snowing, Barbara, is because this is the radar pattern right now. You can see it moving off to the east. There's nothing upstream. This is getting out of the way, moving out of our region. And before, it was moving from the south to the north, and then eventually from northwest, southwest to northeast, and now it's just plain out moving east. And our KYW3 Doppler radar shows temperatures right now in the teens, but we're going to get up to about maybe 27 today. The storm system itself is just to the right here where that break in the action is, heading up toward Long Island, New York. Roanoke got 37, Washington 23, LaGuardia got 22. That's the symbol for LaGuardia, while Central Park got 14 inches. New Haven got 10. And as this system continues to move off, you can almost see where the storm is. As this hole in the precipitation break, it just swirls around this break right here, and that's where the troublemaker is finally ending up right now. It is heading toward Long Island and getting out of our way. And look at this is our real, what you call microscopic radar. This is our 30-mile special Doppler radar. And if you look back here, this is where it ends, folks, right around the Blue Route. Back here toward the Blue Route, this is where the heavier stuff is falling right now, where Barbara was showing. Here's where Barbara is, right down here. And the rest of the snow is tapering off. There's no snow in this section up here, and that's why we think, well, we said by noon. I think by noon the snow will finally, the heavier, moderate falling snow will be over, and we'll just have the windy, drifting conditions to contend with. Pat, Brandon?
All right, Tom, and the thing that we have been anticipating is whether the state of Pennsylvania will be lifting its state of emergency at noontime today. We have no word yet from Harrisburg on that, but that was the target for the governor, to be able to get the roads cleared out enough to be able to open them up to regular traffic.
Yep, we are going to...
Some places north and west of Philly, a little bit surprising. Palm, 30 inches in Montgomery County. Souderton, 30 inches of snow, and it's still coming down, although not for long. Percy, 30, Wilmington, Delaware, 22, Atlantic City, 12. The snow will be tapering off during the afternoon. Mid-20s for highs, -10 to -25 for the wind chill, and then another little weather system coming in tomorrow and another one for Friday. We'll be back to tell you more about that during the next hour. Now, we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
On the next
First and let us know. It was like little pinpricks. But other than that, I felt great.
Okay, Edie, I can imagine those two were on your way to take a shower. They didn't want to pick you up and give you a ride.
No, I had my hat over this. I'm not that bad. But they called me by name, Tim. This is what blew me away. Hey, Edie. Hey, Channel 10. And kept right on going.
I always say, oh, I just thought you were out for a leisurely walk, so that's why I didn't offer to pick you up.
Right. Talk about dedication, lady. Huh? Mile and a half to get to work. That's dedication, commitment.
It is.
Is your car stuck in the driveway?
It is. I can't even see my car.
Yeah. Okay.
Welcome to the club.
Edie,
Thanks,
you very
Edie, for being a trooper, and we'll continue.
She's a hoot.
Yeah, with our special coverage right after this.
On the next extra, ER's George Clooney saves lives on
down in the city of Philadelphia, and I'm going to show you something interesting here. You ready for this? Take a look at the satellite picture, and folks, what you see about the western half of the state, you got it, sunshine, sunny skies in Pittsburgh right now, back through Harrisburg, and making their way toward the Delaware Valley. Watch as this thing moves over the past 12 hours. Since about midnight last night, we had all complete, obviously, cloud cover and snow cover, but here comes the clearing, moving down out of the western part through the Great Lakes and toward the Delaware Valley, and before this day is over, guess what? We may see some sunshine. Action radar now will show us that we are on the back of this system. There it is. You see the back edge of it. It will continue to lift off from the south and west to the north and east. So, folks, folks maybe up toward Allentown, Trenton, still could see another hour or two and another inch or two of snow. But from Philadelphia, south and west, it's starting to wind down. That's the good news. We'll check the complete 5-day for you when we come back at noon. And unfortunately, Mark, I hate to tell you this, but at the end of that 5-day is the possibility of a little more snow.
Oh, my goodness. Before you go, Dave, we just had the picture, which you may not have seen outside.
With our special coverage coming up right after this, including a quick look at sports with Big Al. Don't go away.
I trained as...
Yeah, I know how that feels.
Thanks, David. Joe Torres live at
floodwater as you head back towards the ocean behind us there. But hopefully the worst is over. And a little break in the sky, and looked like things were clearing up. And in talking to Atlantic County Emergency Management, some folks in Brigantine and other areas have finally decided upon themselves that they want to go outside. And what inevitably is happening is people are getting stuck, and that's getting in the way of the emergency crews that need to continue their job cleaning the roads. So the advice continues to be, even though you may see a glimmer of hope, a glimmer of sunshine, a glimmer of whatever, please stay inside until the state of emergency is lifted. We will be sure to let you know so that you can once again get out of the house if you're dying to get outside and take your vehicle for a spin or for a ride. But in the meantime, please hold firm. A little earlier, we were in Ocean City. We took some pictures there, and what a sight we saw. First things first, a tugboat, that's the United States Coast Guard, doing what it can to help a barge that went adrift. The tugboat came to the rescue, tied it up. Then you got the little pink house there right by the bay. That house is on land, but the ice that is picking up, it makes difficult driving for everyone. Ice all over the place in Ocean City, making it a tough time for anyone except for the National Guard. The big wheels and the big tires can get through just about anywhere and everywhere, and that is a big blessing because the National Guard is serving as people movers. Look at this gas station there, floodwaters. Ocean City really got hit with the floodwaters coming from particularly the back bay areas, and hopefully now what everyone is waiting for to see is how quickly or how slowly that floodwater will recede. The temperature is still quite cold, which means that water could turn to ice. Hopefully not. Hopefully the waters will go back, and hopefully the winds will cooperate to either blow that water back to where it should be instead of keeping it where nobody wants it. But that's the story here in Margate. You're right, Mark. It seems to calm down quite a bit. Folks are going to break out the shovels pretty soon. I can guarantee you that. That's the story.
Yeah, Joe, by the way, the one drawback to all this, Dave is talking about bands of stuff that keep coming through, and while you were talking, I was peeking at the radar, and there is more green on the radar south and west of you, and so it's possible you'll get another shot or two before this is all over. Maybe snow, maybe freezing rain.
Green means snow, right? Green means more stuff's coming our way. I would, if that's the case, certainly we shouldn't get too excited about the fact that things have calmed down a little bit. But what a respite, to say the least. And when they got it with the floodwaters, and now it's going to be ice, and just about everywhere there is ice. As you look up and down Ventnor Avenue, four-wheel drive vehicles, the only ones that are going to be getting by, and depending on the floodwater, we talked about this earlier. The floodwaters, what happens is, if you could see it right behind me here, it's not like in the summer where you drive by and it ripples back and forth. You drive by and you don't see it because it's covered with slush and snow and ice. So there's no indication of how deep it is until it's too late. You get stuck in that ice and it's all over. You've got water in your water up to the axles in many of the cars, and that can cause problems, if not now, definitely later. I'm Joe Torres, live on the Action Cam. Mark, back to you in the studio.
All right, Joe. Think June.
The Magic currently in Allentown, I believe at the Hilton Hotel there. I suppose their charter got to that, head into Philadelphia. And so if you have a ticket, there will be an announcement of the rescheduling of the game tomorrow, so you'll be able to use that ticket for the next game. Got that? St. Joe's game yesterday with Virginia Tech canceled. They canceled a couple NBA games, Atlanta at the Nets and Seattle at the Knicks, of course. Now, the Eagles have a charter, but there are a couple of things to consider. One, the airport is closed and probably till 6, maybe later. We understand they're having a meeting now as to what they're going to do, and they could arrive here as late as noon tomorrow. What happened to Vi Sikahema and Mark Jordan, his photographer, we don't know. They were trying to rent a dog sled, we understand, but I don't know how successful they've been. We probably will hear from them later this afternoon.
The best of times, the worst of times.
The best and worst of times. Can you imagine getting beat by the Dallas Cowboys and then having to stay in Dallas for a couple of days to hear the hooting and the hollering going on? and read the papers and find out how bad they were and whatever.
You know, Vi's already promised his wife he'll shovel the driveway, so he's going to have to get home.
Did he
Live up to
really?
that. Yes, promised her on the air. He'd be home to shovel that driveway.
Gonna have to work overtime.
He said it there. All right, we're going to take a break. It's about...
Yeah, there's Gavin over there. So now this is what it looks like around the entire neighborhood. This is the day after. Another 16-inch or so snowstorm coming up. Let's see. That across the street. Unbelievable amounts of snow with this storm. That's next to the south. See how that is. That's what it looks like in here. Let's go over to this one. You can see that mound of snow right there. This. Next to the south. Unbelievable. Look at that. 30 inches of snow. Next door's car. Side of the house. Let's go around the back. This is what 30 inches of snow looks like. Just a mound of snow right next to the house. Probably pick up on the camera. Look at the yard. Unbelievable in the yard. That's what the yard looks like. The house next door. Look how deep that is. Is that hole at? That's the hole. It's hard to see the depth on that. I can tell what the yards look like. Welcome to the house. Where's my foot? Look at that hole. Unbelievable. Going on to the house now. This is what the yard looks like. Can't even tell where the front of the house is. Or where the thing is. The bottom part, the patio. There's still wood that we trying to pile up. Sled, whoosh. Trying to fall here. Kicking heavy snow. And another storm on its way. That's about it.
If the neighbor was an older person or whatever, and that's a great idea, but one thing we'd like blocks to do is you shovel free and clear hydrants. If there are fires and if a hydrant is packed in with 7-8 feet of snow, it could be a situation that could produce death or serious bodily injury. So if all of you have cabin fever, get out there, organize with your neighbors, and plow your hydrants and shovel your hydrants free. Lastly, we've already announced that no garbage and recycling pickup will be, obviously for tomorrow, there will be no garbage or recycling pickup. We will announce that on a day-to-day basis looking forward. In light of all of this, in light of the magnitude of this storm, the continuing wind problems, the slow but steady efforts of a snow clearing operation, I am announcing that we are again closing city offices tomorrow. We're only asking that public safety, city employees involved in public safety, police, fire, and prisons get to work, and we have organized van pickups, four-wheel drive pickups. We're also asking, obviously, any city employee involved in snow removal operations, and that goes for Fairmount Park and streets and many of our people that we're pulling in from other departments to be there. I also want to say that Susan Siegel of my office, she is an emergency essential personnel. I expect to see her tomorrow. We have already announced that Philadelphia public and parochial schools are closed, but President Judge Alex Bonavita-Cola spoke to David Cohn and has announced that the courts will be closed tomorrow for the same reasons that we're closing the city, as well as the fact that police, who are the bulk of witnesses in court cases, are going to be tied up in emergency operations. And lastly, I want to announce that, again, thanks to Governor Ridge and Lieutenant Governor Schweiker, the state will apply for federal disaster aid. That will defray a part, but only a part, if it's granted, a part, but only a part of the cost we have expended. We do not have a cost estimate yet. It is going to be in the millions of dollars. To give you an example, on somewhere between 3 and 6 of our ice storms in 1993 cost us $13 million above budget to deal with. So you can gauge what the cost would be from this. And lastly, I'd like to say it would have been great during these 2 days when we're all kept in our houses. It would have been great for our Eagles to have won and gone on to the championship game of the NFC, but it wasn't to be. The Eagles were a bunch of spirited overachievers all year who played way over their heads and did things that none of us in September dreamed were possible. And I want to say that we're very proud of the Eagles, and I want to congratulate Jeff Lurie and Ray Rhodes and Rodney Peete and Mike Sordich and all of the great Eagles who performed so well and way over their heads all year. It was great to see them do that, and our hearts were with them yesterday, and it wasn't to be. It was also nice to see Randall play, and there were times when you could have closed your eyes and Randall was doing the things that he's done for over a decade and thrilled all of us. So we've had a great season for the Eagles, and we want to congratulate them and wish them well during the offseason. I'm going to turn it over to Lou, and then I'll come back to answer any questions. Lou?
Mayor Ed Rendell speaking at Philadelphia City Hall there, the SEPTA chief coming on with instructions. By the way,
At 5, right after this.
Extra ER.
On the next entertainment.
You saw something about snow, more snow later this week?
You're kidding me.
I wish I were.
There is. We're going to talk in a few seconds. We'll talk more about it at 5:30 again at 6 o'clock tonight. Let's go to Action Radar now. I want to show you what's moving away. Hip, hip, hooray. It's going out of here. There's the movement over the storm since early morning hours, and it is out of here. We still have some strong gusty winds. The breakdown from that in Action Radar will show you that system still contains a lot of snow, but there's no more snow for us because the snow is making its move on up, right along the coast, on up to New England, on up to Maine. Let them have it. 5 o'clock, Monday. It is Monday, isn't it? Let's take a look at the 5 o'clock numbers. Present temperature reading 23 degrees, the relative humidity at 58%. The barometer is 2967. It is on the rise, and the winds are out of the north-northwest at 20 miles an hour, giving us a wind chill for this hour of -6. Well, yesterday's high, you remember that. You remember yesterday, the high was 20 degrees, and our low, our high today is 26 degrees. So we're a little bit warmer, and our low was 20 degrees. For tonight, the call from AccuWeather is the winds have decreased quite a bit out here tonight. It's still going to be brisk and cold, and the winds are northwesterly at about 20 miles an hour, as we just told you, but it's starting to feel a little bit better in comparison to what we went through yesterday. Mostly clear and cold, the overnight low 20 degrees. That's for this evening. Now for tomorrow, the call from AccuWeather is, well, we've got the cloud cover hanging on. Mostly cloudy day, a high of 32 degrees. We're looking for some light snow coming later on, probably tomorrow night. Good evening. The honkers are always out here, no matter what the weather. We had a driver go by just a few seconds ago tell us that it's still very, very slippery on the roads, obviously, but little traffic out here tonight, and that is good. So light snow later on tomorrow night, maybe a coating or an inch out of this. And then on Wednesday, we're looking for a high of 32 degrees. On Thursday, a high of 38 degrees. And then on Friday, AccuWeather is now calling for a period of snow, ice, and rain. The exact combination is still not clear, and it could be a significant little disturbance coming in on Friday. Nothing compared to what we just went through. We'll talk more about that again at 5:30 and 6, so stay with us. 23 degrees, it's starting to feel better. The winds are slowly decreasing. We're on our way. Lisa and Mark?
You might get to sleep at home.
I got to thank Harry Holmes, meteorologist. He's been here for how many hours now, Harry? No, he's
2 days.
2 days straight, and maybe more to come at the end of the week. A little FaceTime, Harry. Say, thank Harry. Thank you, Harry. And now it's back to you guys in the studio.
Harry's the quiet type.
Yeah.
He's great. Thank you, John.
I'll bet Hurricane is still awake, still watching.
It's going to be tough for him to go to sleep. You know, it's just been too exciting. We'll continue with our coverage in just a moment.
It's like most of the city of Philadelphia, buried well beyond what any of us could imagine. More than 30 inches of snow fell in Philadelphia. Plows are out there trying to clean the major highways. Secondary roads are going to take days to plow, as you might imagine. There's a state of emergency in Pennsylvania until tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock. That means you should stay off the roads unless you are an emergency worker. Along the Jersey coast, they had problems with flooding. High tide was several feet higher than normal this morning. There were some evacuations, but no major damage was reported. And snow has also shut down Delaware, although some people are finding other means of getting around, like this guy who brought out his skis. They're having a little fun in the process. Well, we've got reporters all over the Delaware Valley assessing conditions in...
Give them things like this to wear. What do you think?
I think that's a very good idea. You're right.
With
glasses?
Well, I don't think either one of them.
Good point, Terry. And one more thing, Hurricane Schwartz hit this storm right on the head. He said
really
it would come through with this kind of snow, and it did.
And he called it a blizzard at the time, and there were a few naysayers. It all happened. You're
It's
right.
just a thought. Someone call the promotion department.
Thanks, Terry.
Right, Terry.
See you soon.
Get out of the cold. We have...
Because Orlando is at the moment, what should we have? Dining? Yes. Dining at the Allentown Hilton, as we understand. Villanova UConn will play again tomorrow at 7:30. LaSalle Dayton will be announced, as will Drexel Lehigh, and Xavier Temple will play tomorrow afternoon at McGonigal Hall at 1 o'clock. And there you have it. Life on the road. Everyone thinks it's so great to be a sportscaster. You travel, you see the best places, right?
Okay,
Not
thanks,
always.
Big. Listen, we've got to move on. We have Governor Whitman on the phone. She's been on hold. And Governor, thank you for waiting. First thing we want to know, do you know when?
Where it really is tough. It's tough being Eagles in Dallas.
Yes, I can understand. First question, do you know when you're going to be able to reopen the state?
Yes, we're going to take the ban, lift the ban on travel tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., and the state government will be open tomorrow.
Why do you think things have gone so smoothly, Governor?
Well, everybody was very well prepared. We had been working on a coordination system between the state and local offices of emergency management. We had very good cooperation from the National Guard and our State Department of Transportation, the state police, and when they called on people, everybody responded.
Governor, you say reopening at 5 a.m., but you know perfectly well people are going to jump the gun. What'll happen to them if they're caught?
Well, if they're caught, they're going to get fined. It varies in municipalities, but the state fine is $100. The purpose for this, and I know it's frustrating for some people because the roads are in amazingly good shape considering what we've been through, but that's not universal. There's a problem with blowing snow and drifting. We need to be able to get the plows out on those roads without any kind of impediment so they can really clean them up, and we're set to go tomorrow. The on-off ramps are clear. We also have a problem that where we push the snow to the side in some places is so high that in and of itself is constituting a hazard, and we have to move that snow. We have to truck it out and dump it somewhere where it can melt on its own.
Governor, what about dollars? Will the state have to apply for... Orion Reed always...
It's a day.
Roads.
We're creating 10 to 15 foot drifts on the side streets so that we're not only not reaching the side streets, but we're blocking the side streets in with enormous snow drifts that have been that are by our work on the major arteries.
City officials say more than 400 crews are on the streets using every piece of equipment available in southeastern Pennsylvania. But they say that their snow removal efforts are slowed down because some motorists just won't stay off the roads.
People who go out end up getting stuck. And then we have to divert resources to get the people unstuck, or they abandon their cars in the middle of the roads.
Meanwhile, at a news conference within this hour, Mayor Rendell said that another problem with snow removal is that city vehicles are also getting stuck.
One of our major problems right now is our vehicles are getting stuck. Our vehicles themselves are getting stuck. And sometimes we'll send a tow truck out, it will get stuck. We'll have to send a plow out, it gets stuck. And then we send a front-end loader out, and it takes us 3 pieces of equipment to do a job which was designed for 1 piece of equipment.
Now, we're back here live at Independence Mall. And these quick notes, city officials also say that there will be no trash or recycling pickup tomorrow. The snow emergency routes are still in effect. If you're parked on one of those routes, you will be ticketed and towed. Also, fire officials are asking that you clear the snow around fire hydrants just in case there is an emergency in your neighborhood regarding a fire. And finally, 911. Use that number, officials have stressed all day long, only for emergencies. Only for emergencies. And that's the city story. And I'm Eleanor Jean Henley reporting live. Back to you in the studio.
Eleanor, we should remind people that also in the city, the mayor has announced that city government is going to be closed tomorrow, as will the courts and the schools. So it's another day off for everybody.
Absolutely, Stephanie.
What's it like where you are right now? Is it just kind of empty?
It's windy. In fact, I was a little worried that my hat might fly off, and you don't want to see my hair.
Oh, really?
Hat head. It's called hat head. We all have it today. It's all right.
Day. Bad hair day.
Yes. Eleanor Jean Henley at Independence.
Happy about this blizzard.
I get your day off of work, but is it worth it? I'd rather go to work.
Across the street, while her husband snow blows their neighbor's sidewalk. Ginger's very happy about the blizzard.
I think it's great.
You do?
Yep, it's God's way of making us slow down.
Ginger and Jim both live on Haynes Mill Road, a typical suburban street in Delran, New Jersey. A street digging and coping with the most snow any of them had ever seen.
Oh, I love this stuff. I love to shovel. My husband takes the snowblower and does everybody's yard while I shovel. I love it.
That's Police Lieutenant Pfeffer on patrol, driving his own four-wheel car down Haynes Mill Road.
If you don't have to be out, you shouldn't be out right now. It's the roads are still very bad, especially some of the side streets with two-wheel drive vehicles. It's almost impossible.
And here's Paulette Benson coming back from walking a mile to the 7-Eleven.
We had to get out. That's why we took the walk. We really didn't need anything, but we had to get out because we've been stuck in since early yesterday, of course, when it started. And it's a little tight in the house now.
Sue Holcomb and her husband Tom, both off from work, take their Chinese Shar-Pei dog, Mr. Magoo, out for a snow walk.
Of course, he won't get into the high dress because he's afraid he's going to get his undergarments a little cold. But other than that, he loves it.
Haynes Mill Road, coping with the blizzard. Whole families digging out, smelling roses in the snow.
You know, so many great things are happening, and if you listen to Trudy Haynes, it might be possible at 9.
What do you need to...
This one. This is the 47th Street at Conshohocken in Wynwood, where it looks like some of these vehicles are going to, including four-wheel drives, like we see this Nissan, trying to get out of the block here, trying to get this vehicle for work tomorrow. A lot of folks will have to go back to work tomorrow, and I see the wife's got the camera. Is this some event that you're trying to record for history's sakes, ma'am?
Hi, yes, we're trying to get to the store to get some eggs. I'm making lasagna tonight.
Well, ma'am, you better be off walking, wouldn't you think? Is the store around the area?
Yeah, right up the street.
Uh-huh. Do you think you're going to make it any time before the store closes?
I doubt it. We're probably better walking.
Yeah, you probably are. What's your name?
Salima Wallace.
Salima, what's your son's name here?
Yusuf.
What do you think of this Wonderland, Yusuf?
I think it's a die.
And no school. I mean, you could stay home and play through tomorrow as well, huh?
And I always play with my booty buddy. But then we moved to Arizona.
All right. Well, listen, have fun, okay? I hope you get this Nissan out of here.
I know. We thought that since having a four-wheel drive, we would have no problem at all.
Forget it, huh? You're going to be here a while. But take a look up the road here in the 47th Street at Conshohocken in Wynwood. These are just cars, and they're not four-wheel drives, and trying to get through this stuff. This is a road, folks. This is not like somebody's backyard or like a parking lot. This is a road. What do you guys think? I see you guys decided to walk. Hold on, let me get over there closer to you. Can't hear you. What's that?
We walked to Acme, but there's no bread.
No bread. So what do you have to settle for?
Let's see, you got some...
I have meat and cheese, but no bread to put it on.
Is there anything more pathetic? Is there anything more pathetic than that? No bread, no milk.
Oh, what are you going to do, right?
No one's getting out of here for a while.
No. It certainly appears that way. Even that Jeep back there looks like it's making slow progress, guys.
Going anywhere. Well, look what happens even if it makes it to the end of the street. There's a ramp of snow there by your van. It's not going anywhere.
You guys survived the blizzard of '96?
Yes, we did.
All right.
We're snowbound. We're snowbound.
Here in 47th Street
exactly.
in Wynwood. What's your name, ma'am?
My name is Sheila Chellis.
Sheila, and did you go to the store too? What are you trying to do here this afternoon?
No, basically I walked to get bread and couldn't find any, so I'm walking back.
So what did you think of this blizzard that we just went through?
Terrible. The worst thing I've ever seen in my life, I've ever experienced. Yeah.
Want to go through it again?
No.
Because they're saying Friday we may have another one of these. Who knows?
I know. That's what I'm afraid of. That's what I'm afraid of.
Look out, folks. So here we are visiting some of the other inhabitants here in Wynwood who are trying to dig themselves out of this incredible monster of a storm. You making any progress here today?
Not at all.
Not at all. This is your Jeep here?
No, it's his.
Your Jeep. So you're trying to dig it out. Are you having to go to work or something tomorrow or tonight or what?
I'm stuck at my friend's house and I wanted to get back to my own house.
Back to your own habitat, huh?
And we tried to get out, but there's no way I'm getting through that.
So you're going to have to spend the night here again, huh?
One more night.
You're wearing out your welcome. Is that what's going on?
Yeah. There's everyone's getting a little homesick.
Well, I wish you a lot of luck. There are a lot of people who I'm sure are getting homesick around the Delaware Valley as we try to dig ourselves out of this incredible mess. I'm Dan Cuellar, Channel 6 Action News in Wynwood.
Making the best of
time.
You ever been to Buffalo?
No.
Right now, we're a more exciting city than Buffalo. Stay with us at News 3. Our coverage of the blizzard continues. Weather Center with the very latest. Dave?
Yeah, we are going to be talking about this one for a long time. I mean, people, I think, in some of your normal snow belt areas have to be really impressed with the way that we've been handling this particular situation. Let's take a look at some of those unbelievable amounts between 1 and 2.5 feet. That's why it's really taking so long to clear some of this stuff. Fortunately, winds are expected to die down, so we won't have to deal with the blowing and drifting situation as much later tonight into tomorrow. 30 inches of snow in Philadelphia. These aren't temperatures, folks. Upper Darby, 24. Mount Holly, just over 19 inches. Atlantic City, New Jersey, 12 inches of snow. Allentown, 25.4. The numbers continue to pour in. Now, here are some of our concerns. The aftermath of this storm, as it continues to move away from the greater Philadelphia region, obviously will be snow removal. Really try to get out there, make an effort to clear off those walkways, folks, because that is going to be a major concern of ours, especially with the possibility of more snow developing later in the week. Don't look for a major meltdown because it looks like this particular activity is going to hang around for a while. Temperatures will struggle to reach the freezing mark over the next couple of days. And, of course, because of many state and local restrictions, travel is still not recommended. Now, we'll take a look into the future with your 5-day planner. Could get kind of interesting as we go into the weekend. All that coming up a little bit later on.
Towards the light snow anyway, up towards New York City. The flurry activity is off the coastal sections, and that's the best news. Although we adding a few inches now because that was as of noon today. Now as of 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, make that Cherry Hill. These were the final tallies. Picked up an additional 5 inches of snow, 33 inches of snow on the ground there. Officially at the airport, 30.7 inches of snow, 30 as you move up towards Bucks County, Percy, 22 inches all-time record snow for Delaware in Wilmington, 21 inches in Scranton. That's an all-time record snow amount. 14.5 in Millville, and a foot of snow down the shore in Atlantic City. That is extremely unusual as well. And this snow belt extended from as far back as D.C. down through Virginia and all the way up through New York City and on up into Boston. And Boston still picking up some snow. It's diminishing there, but they picked up 29 inches of snow. They'll probably wind up with the same, about 30 inches up in Boston as well. And then, of course, we're watching the potential for another storm system that may begin to move this way for Friday into Saturday. I'll tell you more about that a little bit later on. But for now, the worst of the storm is over with. The winds will be easing up later on tonight, Renee.
Okay, but you can't help but worry about what's coming down the pike. Thanks a lot, John. We'll check back with you later. Well, Mayor Ed Rendell.
Now going to go after the arteries that feed in, that are on the SEPTA bus lines. Because if we can get the SEPTA bus lines, and Bacini said with me about an hour ago that 10 or 12 of those lines will be up and running tomorrow. If we can get all of them up and running, then people will be able to reach public transportation and they'll be able to make their way into work. The regional rail lines are going, and Lou announced the trans passes will be honored on the regional rail lines. They'll have an enhanced Saturday schedule. So we're very fortunate to have this mass transit capability, and we'll be able to take advantage of it starting tomorrow.
Earlier today, your Chief of Staff, David Cohn, admitted that it would be a long time before the city could get to side streets, and of course that's where most people have their cars. What do they do during this interim?
Well, let me say to begin with, when David said get to side streets, we don't do most of the side streets in Philadelphia, the smaller side streets. We do secondary roads, but we don't do side streets. But what we are going to do is take away these huge drifts that have been accumulated in many areas. We've plowed in the side streets ourselves. We're going to use front-end loaders to do that, Jim. We have already dumped 800 tons of snow into the river, into the Schuylkill River. And we're going to do more of that as the week goes on, but it may be into next week before we can get enough front-end loaders to clear all of the side streets from all of the snow that's blocking access to the side streets off. What people should do is very frankly, number one, first and foremost, people should go out and shovel their hydrants.
Mr. Mayor, forgive me for interrupting
Sure.
you, but there is one point I want to get on, and we're running out of time. 911 is getting a lot of calls that it deems non-emergency.
Right.
What can you tell us about that?
People should not call 911 for anything other than severe emergencies, not for taking you to the hospital or taking you to the doctors unless it's an absolute emergency. Stay off of 911, shovel your hydrants, because if the fire department comes tonight, they don't know where the hydrant is. You do. So get out there, all of you together, and shovel your hydrants.
Mr. Mayor, thanks very much for being with us here.
Sure.
Thank you, sir. Action News reporter John Rollins spent his day within the city limits as Philadelphians try to cope with the
Tomorrow are all of Camden's public schools. Temple University has canceled classes tomorrow for students in the law, but Temple employees are being told to report for work at noon tomorrow. Also, Penn State University's 3 local campuses, Delaware County, Ogonce, and the Great Valley Graduate Center, will all be closed tomorrow. All right, we've got some new news for
snow, so therefore it should not be an environmental problem?
Yes. There's no salt. It's clean snow.
It's frozen water?
Yeah.
It's predicted it could take days before all the mounds of plowed snow are removed from even the main roads. The city has no plans to plow side streets. Even if you were one of those who was supposed to be outside today, getting around was tough. The National Guard was called in to pick up hospital workers, but even guardsmen driving Humvees avoided some streets.
Back streets and the secondary roads where the snow is about maybe a couple feet, it's kind of hard because it can get stuck. And once it gets stuck, it might take like an hour, hour and a half to get out.
Few letter carriers ventured out today, but deliveries were doubtful.
Today there will be no home delivery. Tomorrow we're going to attempt home delivery.
SEPTA never did get city bus service going. Both SEPTA and Amtrak's trains were running, but running late. The Broad Street subway was running, but riders of the Market Frankfurt line had troubles.
I was waiting over here for the L, and it's one signal out. So it's one way, we're working one way.
So the L is not working up the front. Yeah. A lot of people in Center City just decided the best way around was to walk. Some tried bicycles, but it was Jack Berwin on his yellow snowmobile who seemed to have the right vehicle.
Oh, it's great. I'll tell you, the side streets are fantastic. They're so deep. I mean, nobody's moving. You can just go. It's super.
John Rollins, Channel 6 Action News.
Philadelphia International Philadelphia's major highways. This is how it looked along the Schuylkill Expressway this afternoon. PennDOT's area supervisor Frank seen so much equipment out plowing, but he's quick to add he's never seen so much snow. Word tonight that Governor Christie Whitman has extended the state of emergency in New Jersey until 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. That means all non-essential vehicles should stay off the roads tonight. We have 2 reports about the blizzard in New Jersey, starting with Kathy Gandolfo in Cherry Hill.
Crews have been out in full force to move this tremendous volume of snow from the highways onto the side of the roadway, creating mountains of the white stuff. This enormous piece of construction equipment helped in the effort. A 27-foot-long blade went a long way toward plowing highways such as routes 38, 130, and 295.
By this afternoon, folks began leaving their homes to undertake the task of shoveling. Hi. How long have you been out here?
About an hour and a half.
How long do you think you'll be out here?
About another 20 minutes.
Hopefully I'll get back to work tomorrow.
How long did it take you to do your driveway?
All morning. I started about 10 o'clock this morning, and I got done about a half an hour ago.
That was 4.5 hours. For some, though, this day was spent shuttling people back and forth, people in necessary jobs.
I am going to pick up staff to come into Cherry Hill Convalescent Center. This is second trip. I'm going to pick up a nurse's aide.
Under the governor's state of emergency, only essential vehicles were to be on the road. The reason was simple: to give the snowplows a chance to do their work. I'm Kathy Gandolfo, Channel 6 Action News, Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
This is Nora Mushanek in Burlington County. It was a good thing cars were banned from New Jersey roads like Route 130 today because driving conditions were horrible. Most of the main roads were plowed at least one lane wide, but abandoned vehicles littered the side, all but swallowed in snow.
I was going to sell my car to snow, but it was useless because I was buried in like 4 feet of snow.
Some of those who ventured out without four-wheel drive vehicles paid the price. This man got stuck in his car and was angry police ticketed him for violating the order to stay off the roads.
Yeah, I think it's harassment.
But the law says you're not supposed to be on the road right now.
Yeah. What you gonna do?
If you can make it through and you don't obstruct anything, then we're not going to give you a ticket.
But
if you get stuck, we're going to give you a ticket. Because you're blocking the passageway for emergency vehicles or anybody who, is supposed to be out on the road.
And only emergency vehicles were supposed to be out there. This is the perfect example of why it's so important to dig out your fire hydrants in front of your house. The Burlington City Fire Department got a call this afternoon that there was a fire in a building here. The trucks pulled up, but they couldn't find the fire hydrant. They had to scramble and dig like crazy in order to locate it to set up hoses.
We come to a scene and we can't get to the fire hydrant. We can't get ample water for our truck. So that takes us longer time to put out the fire and possibly cause injury or damage to a home or a human life.
The only way basically now to find the hydrants is we have water maps that give detailed accounts of where the hydrants are supposed to be located.
The small fire at Old City Hall wasn't serious, but firefighters everywhere need your help in digging out. They say it could make the difference between life and death. I'm Nora Mushanek, Channel 6 Action News, Burlington City, New Jersey.
Now, in addition to the snow and cold, the Jersey Shore must also cope with serious flooding in places like Ocean City, Longport, Margate, Ventnor. The bay has spilled over, filling streets with water, which soon becomes ice, mixing with over a foot of snow. Street conditions don't get much worse than this in Ocean City. And combine that with a very angry surf all along the Jersey Shore, and you can understand why people who live in this area are aching for springtime. There is a state of emergency still in effect in Delaware, but that does not include travel restrictions in the Diamond State. But the governor's office is still asking motorists to stay off the roads when at all possible. Cross-country skiing was a far more effective way to get around today. The snow removal effort has concentrated on the major roads in Wilmington, for instance. Delaware officials are echoing advice we're hearing from everywhere. Please take care shoveling snow. There has already been one fatal heart attack in Ellesmere. More than a dozen other shovelers in Delaware have suffered heart attack symptoms, so please be careful. Still to come on Action News tonight.
I've been used to shovel snow. What does it bring me? Well, my dad bought it to use it as dustpan.
Made for barns weren't the only things pressed into unusual service today.
I could not take my car. I had to use my bike.
Jim Hooker, NJN News.
Well, just so you didn't think we left it out, snows didn't spare the central part of the state either. Trenton and other areas were also hard hit with heavy snows. Jerry Henry is standing by in Princeton with what's been happening in that area.
Well, Dick, as you can see, I'm standing here in knee-deep snow on the at the governor's mansion here in Princeton, and it's a little bit of irony here because just a few minutes ago, a little bit after 5, if you look to the west, you could see one of the prettiest sunsets we've seen in a long time here in New Jersey, and I guess that was one of the first signs that the big storm that dropped all this white stuff on us has gone away. Digging out proved fruitless early today as some of the state's 1,300 pieces of equipment plowed anyway. Residents in Trenton faced the same problem as they tried to find their way to their vehicles. And of course, for those looking for a quick buck, this is prime time. You like digging in the snow?
Yeah.
You're going to be digging for a while, it looks like.
I just make money. Also a little money.
Oh, so you're making a little extra money today?
Yeah.
I see. Emergency crews were kept busy. Luckily, this man was just a bit tired from walking in the snow.
He said he's tired, so he laid down. What?
But there were plenty of more serious calls to deal with for Trenton EMTs.
What are you handling most? A lot of stuff, you know, people going chest pain, shortness of breath, you know, out shoveling.
And if you happen to operate one of the few food or convenience stores that open today, like this man, chances are you were kept quite busy.
I have no breath. Is it all
But he was also tracking another storm heading this way for the latter part of this week. Let's check in with John now and find out. It's not what we want to hear.
I know, Renee. I know you're sick of me by now. You're sick of me at home. I had enough, but microphone. Hold on 1 second.
We're not that sick of you, John. Put on your microphone. We still want to hear. It may not be good news, but you want to hear it.
I can forecast and chew gum and talk at the same time. Yeah, I know you're sick of me by now. You don't want to hear me anymore. But yeah, we're watching the potential for another one the end of this week. But yes, the storm of the century has moved on out. Let's check out the current stats and see what we have at this hour. It's 22 degrees. Humidity stands at 57%. Got a rising barometer. That's the good news, indicating that the storm continues to pull away. The bad news, winds are still howling now out of the north and west. 24 gusting to 36 miles per hour, and the high today was 26, low 20, and that's the problem with the blowing and drifting of the snow. The winds will remain very strong up until about midnight, 1 a.m., and then the winds will ease. Temperatures in the 20s now. You factor in the wind chill, and it feels like below zero just about everywhere you look, or everywhere you look, it is below zero. Minus 15 in the Poconos, but again, the winds will be diminishing overnight. That's very important. Put the radar into motion over the past 12 hours. We had bands of snow today. We picked up an additional 3.2 inches since midnight last night till 4 o'clock this afternoon, and that's why we added on to the snow tally. Now the snow is pulling away. That's the latest radar. Just some light snow left over, it looks like, Nassau County on Long Island. Everything's pulling away. Snow amounts add a few inches to Cherry Hill. You have 33. The airport, the all-time record of 30.7 now. Wilmington, all-time record, 22 inches of snow. Scranton, 21 inches, an all-time record, 15 inches down at Millville, and a foot down the shore of Atlantic City. 27 McGuire, and there is a town a little bit west of eastern PA, a little bit northeast of Allentown, that picked up, get this, 37 inches of snow. A humdinger, and that storm is out of here. Now we wait for the next one. By Thursday, we'll be watching the storm system coming down from the plains. It'll dip down, tap some Gulf of Mexico moisture, and then head towards the Atlantic coastline and tap additional moisture. At the same time, we have a cold Arctic high stretched across the Great Lakes in New England. If this case scenario turns out to be correct by the computer models, we're in for another major storm Friday, later in the day, into Friday night, into Saturday, with the possibility of heavy snow. Do we get some sleet? Do we get some rain? Will it be an all-out heavy snowstorm? Too early to call. Just keep it right there and we'll let you know. I'll have more information on the possibility of a storm for Friday night into Saturday at 11 o'clock when we get additional computer information. But for tonight, that storm's moving away, the Arctic flow behind it, and then a little light snow event for tomorrow. Your forecast for tonight, windy early, then diminishing wind, low to mid-teens. Tomorrow, early sun clouding up, light snow possible by afternoon, 25 to 30. 5-day forecast. Next chance of significant snow will take place later in the day on Friday into Saturday. How much, we don't know yet. Will it change to rain? We don't know that. The storm track is still very much uncertain. Renee, but this one is done.
All right, well, thank goodness. And now I know why you didn't have your microphone. Serious emergency. We'll tell you 2 ways you could help save lives, plus the latest on getting around tomorrow.
I'm Tim Lake. Forecast is calling for yet another winter storm could be heading our way. Next on News 10.
You're watching Philadelphia's NBC 10. Now, live from the News Center, this is News 10 at 11.
And now the big dig out. Philadelphia and a lot of other places have begun shoveling out from under the biggest blanket of snow in recorded history. Good evening, I'm Renee Chennault.
And I'm Tim Lake, in tonight for Ken Matz.
And our top story tonight, the massive cleanup is underway from the storm of the century. High on the priority list, clearing the region's secondary roads and side streets. Snowplows on patrol tonight on the Schuylkill Expressway and throughout greater Philadelphia. PennDOT and other state agencies are working overtime tonight to bring back the concept of traffic, would you believe it? News Chopper 10 tonight over the approach to the Walt Whitman Bridge in South Philadelphia. Plow trains are rolling to clean Interstate 76 and 95. Through Philadelphia, the highways are virtually clear, but better get used to the sight of snow. City and county landscapes will be draped in white for some time to come. And here's the very latest. Pennsylvania state of emergency will be lifted at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Now that means roads will be open, but the speed limit will be 40 miles an hour on the interstates. Public and parochial schools in Philadelphia are closed tomorrow. In New Jersey, the state of emergency will be lifted at 5 a.m. Roads will also be open at that time. State workers are expected back on the job in New Jersey tomorrow. And in Delaware, the full state of emergency will be downgraded to a limited state of emergency starting at 6 a.m. Non-essential Delaware state workers do not have to report to work until Wednesday.
Meteorologist John Bolaris has been tracking this storm of the century for 2 days.
That's right. He joins us now live on City Line Avenue with information on where we stand. And John, is it really over?
Yeah, it's all over, Renee. I think the fat lady already has sang a little bit now, but we have some new snow amounts that just arrived to the Earthwatch Weather Center. Let's check out some of the snow amounts that we had with this one, the monster storm with monster snow amounts. We go to that. Look at that. Philadelphia, the record, all-time record snow, 30.7. Cherry Hill, 33. Wilmington, all-time record, 22. Percy, 30 inches. Atlantic City, 12. And this just in, Northeast Philadelphia Airport reporting 35 inches of snow. And Reading in Pennsylvania reporting 30 inches of snow. Now let's take a look back of other storms of the century, so to speak. 1966, people have been calling it, hey, what about the other storms? The 66 storm. Well, we picked up 12.5 inches. That was around Christmas. 78, the blizzard of 78, 12.6 inches of snow. 83, the Whopper, 21.3. 93, remember that one, Renee and Tim, the storm of the century? A foot of snow.
Yeah, we do.
Look at 96. It shatters all records, 30.7 inches of snow. And that's it from this one. Do we have to worry about the next one? I think so, but the winds are diminishing now, and that's some good news. We have the clear skies. I can see the moon's out, and I'll tell you the chances of getting another storm here later in the week, later on in this broadcast. Tim and Renee?
Okay, thanks, John.
Okay.
Mass transit.
While the ban on non-essential driving will be lifted at 6 a.m. tomorrow, the mayor is urging people to stay off the roads for one more day and continue its efforts to clear city streets. In the meantime, SEPTA will have 15% of its bus, L, and rail lines running tomorrow, lines that service
perseverance. But finally, there is a transformation taking place, but it's quite obvious. As the sun set on the tundra that the region now seems to be, the inhabitants slowly came out of hibernation to begin the process of digging out. In Springfield, Tom Lavasser's job was to clear his doorway so he and his family could get in and out.
Door here somewhere.
Buried in several feet of snow that's already starting to get crunchy from the cold temperatures.
I made my way in so I can get my truck off the street. And I started from the back door so they can get here.
In Havertown, snowblowers struggled to get through almost waist-deep snow that covered walkways and sidewalks. But the end result are passageways that resemble trenches. You've got a deep trench you have here. You could almost use this for military purposes.
Actually, this one's not too bad. We've been cutting them for about 5 feet deep. When the plow comes along, it just buries the sidewalk.
The plow operators have been working overtime, and most of Route 1 south of City Line Avenue has been cleared enough that you could even see the blacktop. The parking lots at Granite Run Mall were still buried under lots of snow tonight, but there were signs of some plowing. Most stores across the region remain closed, but those that were open, like this convenience store in Media, were running out of food. What are you running out of right now?
Milk, eggs, rolls, bread.
You're out of those things.
Yeah, we're out of them.
On Street Road in Media, an army of workmen were busily trying to make commerce possible as early as tomorrow. Is this the last street you all have to do? Is this pretty much it?
No, we're trying to build all the main streets and then start on the side streets for you.
So this is just the beginning?
This is just the beginning.
Pete Tutkin went looking for his car tonight that he left outside a restaurant, and it's a miracle it was not mistaken for a snowdrift by the plows. How in the world did you get in this predicament?
Oh, me and my buddy went out and we just parked it, and I heard it was going to snow, but I didn't know it was going to be anything such as this.
But it was ultimately a relief to see the moon tonight across the region, allowing kids to make tunnels in the snow and make like Eskimos. And then there is Diane Barr and her family, who always wanted to go to Colorado, and now they say they don't have to.
And we've never skied Colorado, but these things are so wonderful. Who needs to go to Colorado?
And as you can see here, the Schuylkill Expressway, beautiful blacktop visible again. And we'll give you this late word from Pennsylvania Governor Tom Ridge's office. A temporary speed limit of 40 miles per hour will be imposed tomorrow on all interstates and expressways in all 35 counties affected by the emergency declaration beginning tomorrow, when the roadways will be open again. Also, on secondary roads, there will be a 30-mile-per-hour speed limit on those roadways unless there is a lower speed that's already been posted. So there again, 40 miles an hour when those roadways, interstates, are open again tomorrow. That's the latest. I'm Dan Cuellar, live on the action cam along the Schuylkill Expressway.
Thank you, Dan. In New Jersey, state workers have been told to report
and the roof as digging out becomes a tall order for many in the Philadelphia area. The exclusive Earthwatch forecast. But first, imagine at the height of the blizzard having such a big emergency that you'd have to leave your house. Well, that's just what happened to a Roxborough woman who went into labor. News 10 medical reporter Sherry Bank has the very latest on this amazing delivery.
The wind was blowing and it was snowing furiously when Hope Ferraro went into labor.
I cannot believe I had a baby in the middle of a blizzard.
And will this little girl ever have a story to tell? Hope called 911. There were no ambulances, so the city of Philadelphia sent a fire truck, and Hope had to walk 2 blocks to get to it.
The fireman, he has a little kit. And he said, well, we can have her right out here right now. I said, no, no thanks.
Instead, they rushed to Medical College of Pennsylvania.
Little Autumn could hardly wait to be born. Doctors didn't even have a chance to give her mom an epidural when Autumn pushed her way out into the world. Didn't you, little girl?
You're my fire engine baby.
So what's it like to go into labor 10 days early in the middle of the worst snowstorm ever? Traumatic, frightening, but worth it.
Oh my goodness, she's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen.
And instead of naming her little girl Autumn Ferraro, Mom says she might have chosen another name instead.
Blizzard Winter Storm of 96 Ferraro.
Sherry Bank, News 10.
The woman actually walked.
Yeah, that's the amazing part. But thank goodness the baby's fine, Autumn's fine, Mrs. Fierro's fine. It's a good story.
All a happy ending in the blizzard. Well, John Balearis is back now with the exclusive Earthwatch forecast. He's outside tonight. Hi, John.
Hey, Tim Renee. I think 9 months from today there'll be more blizzard babies. You know, that's what happens in these big-time snowstorms. The biggest of them all, the monster blizzard of 96 with a record snowfall. Outside right now, you know, it's kind of pretty. You know, the winds have really slackened off, the moon's out, it's glistening across a beautiful snowy landscape, and it's just a few people violating the law going down the roadways. Should not be doing that, 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Okay, let's check it out outside right now. It's cold, 18 degrees, relative humidity 57%. Winds, that's the key. They're beginning to abate. Winds southwest to 10. Diminishing wind, that's the big story for tonight. And it's a clear sky. The high was 26, low is 20. All right, temperatures now dropping like a proverbial rock. Down to 9 degrees in the Poconos, 18, Allentown, Trenton, and Philly. Wilmington 17, 16 down the shore. Dover 21, Reading 16 degrees. Radar is a pretty picture, really. Past 12 hours, watch the snow disappear up off the New England coastline, continues to move away. Snow amounts, what an incredible snowstorm. Philadelphia, yes, 30.7, the all-time record amount there. And you can see a little township there, Williams Township, northeast of Allentown, 37 inches of snow. Northeast Philly just reported 35 inches of snow on the ground. Reading, you have 30. Cherry Hill, 33 inches of snow on the ground. And that's just about it. No more snow for tonight. Tonight's map shows the storm system pulling away. Clear skies tonight. A little weak system coming in tomorrow evening. Now, there could be a little light snow. There could be some flurries, but believe me, you don't have to worry about this one. Even if we get 1, 2, 3 inches of snow out of that, who cares? It's not going to do anything. We have 30 inches of solid snow on the ground. Do not worry about the system coming through. Tomorrow night it will be late. Now, you may have to worry about the system coming through on Friday into Saturday morning. We're watching a storm system dive from the plains, develop in the lower Tennessee Valley on Friday, and then really rocket up the coast, at the same time explode. That means intensify as it begins to move up the coast. Too early to call it, but there's a potential for some heavy snow for Friday into Saturday morning, maybe some sleet, maybe some rain, and if that storm system makes a right-hand turn out to sea, maybe nothing. But for now, a potential. It's Monday. We have time to work on that. Now let's look at some past storms of the century, or the biggest storms over the past 20, 30 years. 66, 12.7 inches of snow. That was at Christmas time. 78, the blizzard of 78, 1.5 feet, 83. That was the whopper, 21.3. 93, we called that one the storm of the century. Mayor Rendell was right. We called a few of them that, I think, over the past few years. And 96, yeah.